Time coverage. They call this one the backyard brawl, and I think after seeing it a couple of times, I understand why, Mike.
Well, Ron, the location of both schools 70 miles apart. This will be an intense, hard-hitting football game tonight.
What are the dangers in playing your arch rival this early in the season, though? Normally it's in the middle of the season or maybe even at the very end of the year.
It's a tough coaching assignment because if you win this game, it's a great confidence builder. It'd be like a rocket taking off with your football team. But if you lose this football game, your fans may have a tendency to talk about it for 4 or 5 weeks, and that's where the coaching job has to come to get them off of it right away.
So we'll see who rockets out. Stand by. We'll be back with the opening kickoff. Tonight it is Pitt taking on the Mountaineers of West Virginia.
I hope you're enjoying your evening.
If you suffer from chronic halitosis, try Halo. Formulated...
Still going. Nothing outlasts the Energizer. They keep going and going and...
After 7 days, the leading antiseptic couldn't heal this finger. But this one healed using a first aid product so effective, it's the one most recommended by doctors for more than 25 years, Neosporin. Clinical testing shows that Neosporin with triple antibiotic strength helps wounds heal faster. Neosporin, for faster healing, it's the one. And when a stronger Neosporin formula is preferred, try maximum strength Neosporin.
We all like to keep our car looking new. That's why so many people use Armor All Protectant. Armor All cleans and shines the rubber, plastic, and vinyl. And it protects all those surfaces too. So Armor All makes your car look like new and helps it last longer. And that makes you look pretty smart. Armor All, it keeps you looking good.
You gotta love a place where you get a lot of space for not a lot of money and the breakfast is free. At Hampton Inn, you got our guarantee.
Comfortable rooms, money-saving extras, and friendly service every time, or your stay is free.
At Hampton Inn, yeah, you got our guarantee.
For reservations or a free directory listing our locations and affordable rates, call 1-800-HAMPTON. Now, ask for extension 8.
At Hampton Inn, yeah, you got our guarantee.
Right now, every gallon of paint is on sale at Sears. Every interior, every exterior. Save 10 to 33% on Weather Beater, Easy Living, Dutch Boy, Olympic Stain, and more. But hurry, sale ends Labor Day at Sears.
Well, what you're looking at is Mountaineer Field in Morgantown, West Virginia. Sold out, and in fact, we may find out before this one is over, it is a new record crowd, somewhere in the vicinity of 70,000 people. As the backyard brawl continues, series started back in 1895. And Mike Gottfried, you have coached at this one right here, and I was interested in what you said just a moment ago. You said, hey, I didn't realize it was this noisy, but you had your mind on other things at game time.
But sometimes a coach doesn't hear the noise. You're just so involved in the ball game. And I'm going to tell you something, Ron. This is loud. You're right.
Number 15 is James Jett. World-class sprinter in track, and Mike Baker is the other deep man along with him. As Don Silvestri will kick it off for the Pitt Panthers. He is a left footer, handles the long field goal chores and also the kickoffs for the Panthers. The backyard brawl. It started in 1895, and tonight the birthday party, 100 years of football in Morgantown, and we are underway. Kick will go 5 yards deep in the end zone. Jett will down it. Mike, as you look at this one and the keys and what has to happen as far as, first of all, West Virginia, and you have watched them long and hard this week, what do you expect?
Ron, West Virginia has to attack the perimeter. Darren Studstill, you see coming on the field right now, will run the option. He's got to get the ball on the corner to Adrian Morrell or Carl Hayes to break it up inside for them to be successful, and then to dink the ball a little bit throwing the football.
Morrell and Hayes are the setbacks behind Studstill, who is a junior from Riviera Beach, Florida. And they go with the running play, and this is Morrell. And he will take it out in the vicinity of the 25-yard line. And Mike, all I have heard since I've been here at Morgantown is like they're unveiling a new car model or something, but they like the way Morrell looks. And in fact, he has unseated a couple of guys who have played very long and hard up here. Jones and Ford are very good football players.
Ron, he came into camp the 4th team tailback, and he's beat all these people out. But Don Nalen told me he thinks this guy can be a 1,500-yard rusher.
Short side of the field to the right as West Virginia looks again at a, this time, second down situation with 6. They go with the draw play. Paul Hackett, the second-year head coach at Pitt, looks at his defensive team. And what do they have to do tonight with a 3rd down and 4?
They have to move around on defense for themselves to be successful. Move their tackles.
Thanks, Steve. And what a game in the Big Ten as the ball is picked off by Israel on the 3rd down pass play, and he will be knocked out of bounds at the 21-yard line of West Virginia. So on a 3rd down and 4, the first pass of the afternoon, and Israel, who was injured in the same game 2 years ago, comes up with a 26-yard interception return.
Darren Studstill was going to his left. Didn't get a lot of power in that throw. Steve Israel just waited on it. It hung in the air for a long period of time for the interception. Now West Virginia's defense has to come on now in a sudden change situation and stop the Pitt offense. Now Pitt comes on again in great field position.
In last year's ball game, there were turnovers, almost made the difference in that one as well, did it not? As we look at Alex Van Pelt, the junior from San Antonio Churchill is where he played his high school football, but to get Mike to elongate a little bit more on that, he is from this area. In fact, he grew up coming to this football stadium and cheering against Pitt. They go with the running play, and that is Jermaine Williams, who will take it to left guard for a couple. And with this, the Energizer starting lineups on offense for the Panthers tonight. Jermaine Williams, and of course, Alex Van Pelt. Maturity, a huge factor, and one of the things the coaches look for his improvement. Look for Dave Moore to catch a lot of footballs tonight. 32 receptions on the 90 season last year. And up front, very versatile group. Probably the most versatile, the best athlete, is the left tackle, who is Jeff Christie. Sestelli, in his 3rd year as a starter, he's only a junior. Van Pelt with his first throw of the night throws it incomplete. It's Eric Seaman, the senior out of Glen Mills, Pennsylvania, his intended receiver. Now let's check the Mountaineers on defense, and they are very good and very active up front. Keep an eye on Jim Gray. He is a 4-year starter and, of course, now a senior. The linebacking core also very active. Last year's most valuable player, Steve Grant, he's out of Miami, Florida. And in the secondary, hobbled by a knee injury, but Darrell Whitmore, not only the quarterback back there of that secondary, but he is the heart and soul for West Virginia. Our situation, 3rd down, and Pitt needs the 11-yard line. Incomplete, and a marker comes down for pass interference. Terrace Alexander was the one applying the pressure, but I believe Mike Collins, number 25, is going to be called for the early hit.
I think they're going to check this as to whether or not he was across the line of scrimmage or not, because they may call this flag back. The screen pass, you can go after the receiver when he's behind the line of scrimmage like that. Watch Alex Van Pelt. Here comes the pressure from Terrace Alexander. Comes scot-free, but they got a great call on the screen. It's perfect. He just doesn't get enough on it. Now they're going to put him in a field goal situation here. Great job by the West Virginia defense.
Well, and that call right there, and we have to credit the officials on the fact that they picked the flag up and using the rule exactly what you were talking about. This is Scott Kaplan regaining his job. He had lost it last year, and in fact, some of the coaches said he might have been bothered a little bit by taking away the kicking tee, which we saw in 1990. But now he has garnered a lot more confidence.
It did bother him, and I think right now, as we've seen in the first couple of games that have opened the new season, the kickers are having a little trouble with the goalpost situation, and I think, as you said last night, it may be in the mind of some kickers that it's a little more narrow. So Scott Kaplan gets the first chance to kick on our Saturday night game.
Scotty's a junior out of Coral Springs, Florida. This attempt will come from the 27, right in the middle of the field. And he is no good. Last year would have been good by 2 or 3 feet. This year, it is no good. Do you like the rule?
Yes, I do like the rule, Ron. And I'll tell you, as we look at that, one of the things as you talk about in a team is special teams in the first game. Your most vulnerable special team-wise. Now they had an opportunity to tackle on 3 points here. West Virginia defense has to feel pretty good that they held him. Darren Studstill now gets a reprieve. He gets a chance to come back on the field. Now I think Don Nalen, after that pass interception, has to make a decision whether he wants to play a little more conservative, backed up.
Well, we'll see. And we're going to get that opportunity as Studstill comes out in the second offensive series. And they go with the play action. And he dumps it off. And that one is in and out of the hands of the defensive back, Doug Whaley. Almost intercepted his second throw of the evening. So let's take a look offensively. Darren Studstill gets the starting quarterback tonight. He could turn some heads, so say the coaches. But right now he's got to calm down. I think this crowd has got him going a bit. The wide receivers, James Jett, world-class sprinter, Shenandoah Junction, West Virginia. You'll see him exercise that tonight. And on the offensive line, as usual, the Mountaineers are big, but keep an eye on John Ray, 6'10", 330 pounds. First option play of the night. Studstill out of the 25 and to the 27. And let's take a look at the Panthers defensively tonight. They got a couple up front. Many coaches say starting with Keith Hamilton. He's a huge one, but on the other side is Sean Gilbert, and a lot of people say by as good a tandem of tackles as anybody has in the country. At linebacker, watch number 48, a defensive captain, Ricardo McDonald. And in the secondary, the man who made the interception on that opening drive, Steve Israel. He returned at 26 yards, but his team unable to take advantage and score points. Option to the left side. This is Adrian Burrell. And now we see why the coaches say he may turn some heads.
This is why, as Don Nalen talks, as your ball's backed up here a little bit, you settle Darren Studstill down a little bit. You allow him now to run the option, which he does best. Here Studstill takes the ball right to Ricardo McDonald, gets the ball off to Adrian Morrell. Curtis Bray misses a tackle right here. Adrian Morrell picks up the first down. Now that's what Darren Studstill does best, plus rollout passes and waggles. And you're right, he'll settle down a little bit. The Pitt defense did a nice job on the plays before, but they have to do a better job on the option.
On first down, play action and back in the pocket. Studstill dodges one, dumps it off to Burrell, his running back. And Burrell will take it for a gain of about 4 yards. That's Doug Whaley, who has been very busy in this opening going to the ball game, making the stop.
Adrian Morrell's a good story, Ron. The magistrate, the city magistrate here in West Virginia in Morgantown was over in Hawaii, saw a clipping of how good this running back was, brought it back to the recruiting coordinator and said you ought to check him out. And that's how they got him. Usually when football coaches hear from the magistrate, it's 2 o'clock in the morning and they don't bring good tidings.
Will also explain that his father is a career military man and was about to be transferred to the East. And he said, Coach Neilan, I'm glad you called. No one has shown interest in me. There he goes right up the middle. Has 5, has 10, counted off at 11 at the midfield stripe. And Morrell right now is putting on a one-man show.
Here's what happens when you run the option. Last year at Pittsburgh, West Virginia was able to run the inside play like they are right here. See the tackles work up outside. They're working outside to protect against the option. That opens the inside game. When they start to get the tackles to go inside, then you work the ball outside on the option.
You can see Sean Gilbert, number 91, had a shot at him. Got a piece of him, but was unable to fully make the tackle at the 50-yard line. Just over 10.5 minutes to play until halftime, and flags go down and the whistle sounds, and our first stoppage in play on the evening.
Looks like West Virginia moved a little too soon there, but Pittsburgh is so strong up front. Where their questions are, and they're not questions, the youth of the linebackers, the inside linebackers, and the secondary a little bit. When you run an option, the tough part.
Dead ball foul, false start, offense, still first down.
The tough part is the strong safety and free safety. You put so much pressure on them to try to stop the option from the secondary. If they get one block in the secondary, you've got a big play. This is a good draw screen play right here, Ron, for West Virginia.
So with the 5-yard penalty, on second down and 15. Studstill dumps it out, and that ball is blocked at the line of scrimmage. Ricardo McDonald is the man who comes across and gets an arm on him.
West Virginia had a screen set up. Watch Darren Studstill step back. Here comes Ricardo McDonald in front of you here. Carl Hayes just brush blocks him, sets up the screen. Ricardo gets his hands up, which you teach pass rushers. Always get your hands up, make him throw over you, cut down the throwing lanes. Ricardo's out of Patterson, New Jersey, has a brother Damon at Notre Dame.
The brothers did not want to play at the same school, but afforded the opportunity. 1 of 4 with 1 interception, and on third down, the pitchback comes to Burrell, and he is hit out of bounds. This partisan West Virginia crowd would like to see a flag thrown on that when there will be none. It's Tom Tumulty, a freshman out of Penn Hills, Pennsylvania, who is outside to make the tackle. You know, here's the situation. Tumulty is one of 2 parade All-Americans that Pitt has on their roster, but he is playing his first college football game. This time last year, he had just played his first high school game of his senior year. Tonight, almost 70,000 people. That shows a lot of confidence by that Pitt staff to use him, Mike.
Pitt coaches really have confidence in him. You have to realize he probably was very sick before the game looking at this crowd, but once it starts, it's another game for him.
Now the third down. They need about 13. Throw it on the screen in the middle. Inside the 40 is Michael Beasley, and down to the 36-yard line. And virtually the same play we saw Bobby Bowden's Florida State team run on Thursday evening with great success.
Mike Beasley last year had a great rushing game against Pitt. Don Nalen has to find ways to get he and James Jett the football. Here's a screen. Watch Mike Beasley come in. Watch everything set up in the middle. The linebackers didn't see it coming, didn't react, and got too deep in coverage. Mike Beasley splits it. Good play called by Don Nalen and his offensive staff.
Beasley last year the leading rusher in this game, but this year has been moved to wide receiver as the pitch comes at the last minute, and Morrell bumped out of bounds at the 31-yard line, and again the officials come over, and Curtis Bray, one of the last men to make the hit along. You can see Ricardo McDonald as the crowd saying maybe there should have been a late hit, but the officials do not see it that way.
The reason they're running the option to Ricardo McDonald's side is Pitt is bringing Ricardo McDonald on a crash stunt, which means he's going to take the quarterback right away, which allows them to get the pitch to Adrian Morrell, which means the secondary then has to make the tackle on him. It'll be something we can look for as the game unfolds, how much they do run it to Ricardo's side.
Beasley comes into the lineup. Also Rodney Woodard comes in at fullback. Play goes at left side. It's Woodard. He's a sophomore out of Columbia, South Carolina. And we've called McDonald's name already a bunch tonight, and I think we will continue to. He is one of 3 very fine defensive personnel in that front 7 when you include Hamilton and also the play of Sean Gilbert.
Good player, Ron. Now you're in a situation here, Don Nalen. You're 3rd and 2. Not sure of your kicking game. Goalposts are a little tighter. I'm not so sure I would be thinking 2 plays here to get the first down. Not just 1, but 2.
Well, he's almost in the middle of the field. Let's see if he takes it back in that direction. This is the 10th play of the drive. Stud still on the option. Charlie Williams is there to just engulf him. And let's see if he's going to give him a left foot spot or a right foot spot. He is very close to the first. And from there, no, he's going to miss it by a full yard.
I think they're going for this play. Watch Charles Williams, the linebacker, number 53. See him skating down the line of scrimmage. He's responsible for Darren Studstill. He makes the play. And again, I think right now, coaching-wise, as you're sitting there, you say, well, I'd like to get 3 points. I'd like to tack. I'd like to lead right away. I got the home crowd. I want to keep them in the game. But I think he's making a good choice on the first down call.
So here's the situation. It is 4th down. They need a yard to the 26-yard line as Hill has just checked in at wide receiver, and they go with the quick pitch, and it's Morrell who breaks it for 3, 4, and 5 yards, and Tumulty will make the stop, but it is 1st and 10 for the Mountaineers.
One thing on a long, hot night, these long drives are what you want in your offense. If you're the defensive coordinator, Fred Von Oppen, you don't want to see your defense on the field that long in the first quarter in this type of drive. It takes too much out of you.
And if you're Steve Dunlap, who is the defensive coordinator, and Bob Shaw, who is the assistant head coach, you're saying, hey, guys, just keep it on going, because right now it has just called a timeout with 7:50 left in this opening quarter. No score.
Wally Cleaver's dad was always chewing him out about having respect for money.
Another thing, Wally, you've got to start having a little respect for money.
See what I mean? Ward Cleaver would have loved the Toyota Camry, because now you can save up to $900 on Camry LE's extra value package of options. There are factory-to-dealer incentives, too. If I know Beaver, he would have been the first one to pocket that money.
Do I get to keep the money?
Well, of course.
And winds northwest 30 knots, gusting 45 knots. Rain expected to continue till 10 p.m. 5 inches predicted in the 7-county area. About 1,500 more there. 1,500 more. Yeah, we gotta shore up the left side. The left side's the bad.
Evidently, some people have money to burn. Why else would they pay an outrageous fee to carry a simple credit card? When they could carry the Discover card, the card that charges no annual fee, yet pays cash back on every charge, which means it puts money into your pocket. Instead of burning a hole in it, it pays to Discover.
Sometimes I dream that he is me.
You got to see that's how I dream to be.
A dream I move. A dream I grew.
Like Mike. If I could be like Mike. I'm gonna be like Mike. Like Mike. If I could be like Mike. Be like Mike. Like Mike. If I could be like Mike. Be like
ESPN's College Football, Pitt versus West Virginia, is brought to you by your Toyota dealers and their quality line of cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. And by Budweiser, the king of beers. With that clean, crisp, cold taste, nothing beats a Bud. Statue of the Mountaineer, dedicated on October the 30th, 1971. It stands in front of the Student Union, part of the many pieces of memorabilia that go along with Mountaineer football and the 100-year celebration that we are happy to be with them here tonight and witness. Ron Franklin, along with Mike Gottfried, and Adrian Karsten is down on the sideline. We'll be getting to him momentarily as the quick pass, a flag from the secondary at some marker. Actually, the beanbag is probably the receiver had been pushed out of bounds, but it's going to be to the 19-yard line. Woodard on the receiving end of that.
Ron, when you have two young linebackers like Pitt has right now, West Virginia is wise to do the play action they're doing and run the waggles because the linebackers are getting lost with a fake, the young linebackers, and that's why you get a receiver open on the outside like that.
Mike Richard Allen and Tom Barnt and Mike Kelly had come in for one play, but quickly Hamilton, Esters, and Gilbert have come back in. This is the 14th play of this drive on a very warm evening. Straight ahead with the handoff, and again it is Woodard, the big fullback. He will have the first down, and they'll mark it just outside the 11-yard line as Dave Coleman, the senior from Youngstown, Ohio, comes up to make the tackle.
Mike Jacobs is doing a good job of inside-outside pass. He's got a good rhythm going his play calling right now and keeping Pitt a little bit off balance. Watch the fullback right here. There's a double team on Jeff Esters. There's the block on Charles Williams. And then you see the good run right up inside by Rodney Woodard.
No score. 6 minutes and 50 seconds left in this opening quarter. As for the second time tonight, the Mountaineers jump before the snap of the football.
Dead ball foul. False start. Offense.
Mike
Still
Jacobs,
first down.
of course, the offensive coordinator here for the Mountaineers of West Virginia. And this is almost textbook right here when you start talking about it. In the area of 15 offensive plays in a drive or better.
The key is you got to come away with points.
Woodard goes right up the middle. He'll take it for a couple, maybe three. Now keep in mind, following that penalty, that was first down. It's going to bring up a second down at about 13 yards, but the Mountaineers can pick up a first down without scoring. Just around the 1-yard line. And defensively, as you look at Don Nealon on the sideline, defensively, the Panthers had to be a tad winded to be faced with this right off the get-go. Studstill with the last-minute pitch. Burrell loses his footing, and he's going to lose yardage at the 16-yard line. And now we come up with a big third down, and let me ask you, right up. Studstill is young. Opening game, the pressure of a good Pitt defense. They're playing very aggressively right now. Do you put it in the air, or do you run it and put it in the middle of the field to try to get the short three?
I put it in the air right now. I have to show my quarterback I have confidence in him. You're on an area of the field where you can do that. Penalties have hurt them right now. Pitt jumped into an 8-man front last time and blitzed, so they may do it again, which will open a receiver if he gets enough time to throw.
Jett and Beasley, the wide receivers, as Studstill sets in the pocket, now under pressure, gets by Hamilton, throws his pass, and it is caught after being tipped at the 4-yard line. Alex Shook.
See the drop back pass, and again the pressure that Pitt gets on. They've got good pressure. There's Keith Hamilton going right past John Ray, knocks him down, but doesn't make the tackle. Darren Studstill's trying to let something set up. He throws it. Lex Perkins, number 3, went right through his hands for the interception.
So West Virginia says, we're going to think about this for a second as you watch the ball. It tipped just barely, and Shook, who is a converted fullback, now at tight end, makes the reception. We'll take that timeout with him. No score. 5:15 left in this opening quarter. We'll be right back.
I couldn't wait to call in my Toyota story. I play hard in the outdoors, but I need a truck that I can depend on to get me there. My Toyota's got 123,876 miles on it and still plays as hard as I do.
I'm in the delivery business. My Toyota truck has 352,917 miles on it. This is our bread and butter, this truck right here. If it's not running, I don't go to work, and we don't make any money that day.
I love what you do for me, Toyota.
It begins at dawn. They've come for you. And they want what you have. It's your bed, your Serta Perfect Sleeper. But it's the most comfortable spot in the house. The Serta surface and support only Serta builds in makes it that way. So if it gets a little late for breakfast, there's always brunch. Is it any wonder people are saying, I want my Serta?
Jack Nicklaus, Ian Baker Finch, Greg Norman. Just some of the champions Wayne Levy must beat to defend his Canadian Open title. Complete coverage begins Thursday afternoon at 3:30 Eastern, live on ESPN.
Planning. Where'd I get the capital to start this business with my daughter? By investing for the long haul. And forget full commission brokers. I call Charles Schwab. Munis, mutual funds, blue chips, and I save plenty with Schwab's low commissions. Every day I tell my daughter, think long term. Make your own decisions. Be your own man.
We give you more ways to succeed.
Choices. Dad's conservative, and that's okay, but I'm after high return.
At Schwab, I can be aggressive. I just bought some high-growth mutual funds and an undervalued stock I know will take off, all by computer and at Schwab's low commissions.
Dad says, plan ahead, get there first. Maybe that's why my name's on the door first.
We give you more ways to succeed.
Welcome back to Mountaineer Field. West Virginia at Pittsburgh, no score, but the Mountaineers have elected to go for the field goal. Now, the thing that you might look for is Mike and I were just talking during the timeout. I think Pitt would turn it out, but they might try to go for the delay because with the hash marks where they are and the shrunken field goal as far as the uprights are concerned, this is a horrible angle. 21 yards the attempt. Mark Johnson. Kick is on the way, and he's got it. No problem as far as Mark Johnson is concerned. And the Mountaineers go on the scoreboard first in this 1991 backyard brawl, 3-0. Well, let's take a look once again at that newest NCAA rule change, and that is with the uprights, Mike.
Well, the new rule now, you just close them down, and it makes it, this is last year's dimensions right here.
23.4 was the distance. Now it's only 18.5 feet in 1991. And, you know, we talked just a while ago. Have we gotten into the kickers' heads with too many play-by-play guys and also people on just regular television talking about the reduction of this. Adrian Karsten took a closer look at some of the alternatives and what might happen in kicking from the close angle.
Well, out at the 40-yard line, 4 feet 10 inches is not going to make that much difference. But here inside the 20, a narrow goal post becomes much more significant. Why? Because even though they pulled in the uprights, they left the hash marks where they are. That means a right-footed kicker field goal. Point is, ironically, the closer you get, the more difficult it is.
Okay, Adrian, thanks so much. And there you look at it against the beautiful, partly cloudy West Virginia sky. And the Mountaineer partisans thinking it's a real beautiful sky right now as they have gone on top in this one. Home field advantage has not always been just that in this series. In fact, you have to go back to the early 80s since a home field team won. Steve Israel from the 5. At the 40, at the 50, gets by the kickoff man, and he's got one man to beat, and Jet will knock him out of bounds inside the 25-yard line.
I said earlier, Ron, that the one thing you worry, there's a lot of things you worry about as a head coach when you come into a game, but you worry about special teams. West Virginia came down. Steve Israel, an outstanding athlete, was hurt here 2 years ago. Watch him set it up. He started up the middle, and then he broke outside. Now he tries to set his block up a little bit. Did a great job right here, but they were not able to block James Jett. He kept it from being a touchdown.
73 yards on the return, and Pitt with a wonderful opportunity here. They had the ball inside the 25 earlier and came away with no points. DeVoe sets up at tailback, but they go. He gets the handoff, and he will take it to the 20-yard line. Right now, let's go to Tim Brando and get this update. Timmy.
Ron, I got a Southern fried shocker for you. Georgia Southern, another Division I AA team. You don't play Division I AA opponents, guys. Pat Dye knows it. 17-3 they trail against the Division I AA champions. Mississippi State, Jackie Sherrill in his debut, leading Cal State Fullerton 14-3. Back to Ron and Mike.
All righty. So, wow. Georgia Southern, who is always an excellent football team, but normally you don't think of them on a par with Auburn. That is indeed a shocker. Van Pelt with the inside give. It'll go for 4 to the 16-yard line. And Jermaine Williams, redshirt in 1990 after an ankle injury in 90. He was redshirted. And he's only a sophomore. He's from Detroit.
Watch Jeff Christie here, Ron, come around the corner and get a block on the outside linebacker that sets the cutback for Jermaine Williams. He didn't have anything at the point of attack. Cut back, and then the tackle was made by Grant.
Askew, Chad Askew, a freshman from Aliquippa, comes in at wide receiver along with Chris Boyer. Pitt needs the 13-yard line. Van Pelt has a man wide open, throws to Seaman as tight end across the middle at the 8-yard line, and Grant makes the tackle immediately, but it is first and goal for the Panthers and a gain of 8.
Good play call and a good job by Alex Van Pelt. Watch him set up here, good pass protection. See Eric Seaman turn away from Steve Grant, make the catch. If Steve Grant would have worked outside, Eric Seaman would have turned inside. It's a basketball move.
DeVoe, who also was a very good pass catcher, he had 23 receptions just last year, sets up again in the backfield. Gets the handoff, and DeVoe takes it straight ahead in the vicinity of the 7-yard line. Jim Gray, senior from West Mifflin, Pennsylvania, had to have off-season surgery on what the doctor simply said, for lack of a better calling, it was a turf toe. We go under 3 minutes to play in this opening quarter. Mountaineers leading, and Pitt now each side the 10. DeVoe comes out. Chad Askew will come in at wide receiver. So they go with 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, and 1 setback, Jermaine Williams. Looking for Moore, has him at the 2-yard line, and to be stopped right there as Derek Wiley had him all the way, but Moore had a step on him. And Moore, probably the pass catcher of the tight ends, where Seaman is looked at more as the blocker.
Well, they brought Dave Moore in motion, and when you get down inside the 10, 15-yard line, you like routes where you can cross people. They brought Dave Moore in motion, took Eric Seaman across the middle, and that put Dave Moore on the linebacker, Derek Wiley. Big play for the West Virginia defense as well as the Pitt offense right here.
So it is 3rd down and goal. In at the 1-yard line, and Glenn DeVoe will not get into the end zone. Pitt is saying touchdown. The officials do not agree. It's Steve Grant who is at the bottom of the stack.
Here's a give to Glenn DeVoe. And watch when he gets in, he makes the initial hit right here. Unless there's a whistle blown right there. There's the whistle. Unless it's blown and he's down. He did make second effort to get in. Big play here.
4th down. The crowd will let you know. DeVoe walks in. So Pitt, with their second opportunity, Mike, inside the 25-yard line, and this time they make it good, and a great block by Dave Moore, one of the tight ends.
Dave Moore again came in motion, and what West Virginia did on the 4th and 2 situation, called a defense where they brought their outside people down inside, and that left the outside open because Dave Moore sealed the backer, let Glenn DeVoe get around the corner.
Extra point attempt, it is down, and Scott Kaplan makes it good. So the Pitt Panthers get the big kick return from Israel, and here's the touchdown as DeVoe off that block of Moore. And on the sideline, head coach Paul Hackett says, yes, I like it. Pitt leads 7-3. Jeffrey?
Which publication tells you about hundreds of great jobs open across the country right now? High-paying professional, managerial, and technical jobs. The National Business Employment Weekly. Which publication helps you land one of those jobs with articles on how to sharpen your resume, how to shine in interviews, how to market yourself. The National Business Employment Weekly. Which publication helps you do better after you land a great job, get along with your boss, get a raise, get promoted. The National Business Employment Weekly, published by the Wall Street Journal. It's all you need besides your own ability to land and do well in the kind of job you've been looking for, in a part of the country you'll enjoy at a salary you can be proud of. It's all you need. Get the National Business Employment Weekly at your newsstand, or order by credit card and get 8 issues by first-class mail for $35. Call 800-372-3000. 800-372-3000. The National Business Employment Weekly. Don't make a career move without it.
The University of Pittsburgh, a place to discover.
Seven to 3, Pittsburgh leading over West Virginia with 1:09 left in this opening quarter. Ron Franklin, Mike Gottfried, and Adrian Karsten here in Morgantown, West Virginia. Very pleased to have you in this opener, the 100th anniversary of Mountaineer football. And West Virginia last night had a big pep rally, and the bonfire that normally goes later on in the season where this one is played. Don Silvestri, who we mentioned handles either the long field goal attempts or kickoff. He's a left footer. High end of around, it looks like this is going to come down to James Jett. Breaks it at the 25 and comes out to the 32-yard line. Well, at this time, we'd like to welcome the Toyota Leadership Award to our CFA Primetime Football telecast. In its 7th year, the Toyota Leadership Award will be presented to those team players who have been singled out for their school's coaching and faculty staffs for their team contributions, academic excellence, and community service. And Dave Moore, we recognize him from the Pittsburgh Panthers, hospital visitation volunteer at the Veterans and Children's Hospital in Pittsburgh, and very involved in the St. Paul Catholic Church. And Beasley, of West Virginia. We will talk about him as the play comes to the 35-yard line. Mike Beasley, also a children's hospital volunteer, elementary school reading helper, and he runs a community youth program in Reading, Pennsylvania. And in addition, Toyota is pleased to donate $1,000 to each player's school to the General Scholarship Fund.
Ron, you like to get a score, like if you're the visiting team in a noisy place like this, you want to take the crowd out as quickly as you can, and the crowd is subdued a little bit.
Studstill's doing a good job of squaring the shoulders and throwing, going against the grain, and has it complete to Woodard. Doug Whaley is there to make the stop for Pitt, and that could be the last play of this opening quarter.
Doug Whaley and number 84, Tom Hubbard.
7-3 our score, and the clock runs down. West Virginia is not going to do anything to stop it. They will take a breather and head to the other end of the field. So, in a series that started in 1895, at the end of the first 15 minutes, it is Pittsburgh leading 7-3. Mark Johnson got West Virginia on the board with a 21-yard field goal, but the big kick return by Israel led to DeVoe's 1-yard run, and Pitt leads it by 4.
Introducing the new 1992 Paseo from Toyota. It's a practical, sensible car.
Women dig it.
For people who know their limitations.
Let's party.
And can appreciate performance.
16 valves, 100 horsepower.
In moderation. So don't expect a lot of excitement.
It's a blast.
Just good, basic transportation.
Women dig it.
At a price we're too modest to mention.
Starting under 10 grand.
We think you'll probably like it.
You'll love it.
The all-new Paseo, a very practical car from Toyota.
I can't tell you how it feels when you're way out there on your own tracking the bad guys. How it feels leading a skilled team that's the eyes and ears of the whole outfit. When all your training is coming alive. But finding those tanks and telling the air cavalry right where to hit them, I can tell you exactly how that feels.
It's the one. The only Red Lobster Fest. It's the only time each year when we serve up lobster a dozen luscious ways. Our most delicious lobster at our most delicious prices. But only now during this special event. It's the one, the only Red Lobster Fest, starting at $8.99.
Red Lobster for the seafood lover in you.
Spend less time in line. Use call-ahead seating.
7-3, Pitt leads as we open this second quarter of action with West Virginia on top. And the stats are going to show, as far as time of possession and plays in that opening quarter, heavily edged toward West Virginia, but they trail by 4. Burrell breaks it big, has 5, has 10, counted off at 15 and now 20 yards as he comes off the tackler and takes it down to the 45-yard line, and it's Nelson Walker who had just come into the ball game for Pitt.
Ran Adrian Morrell right at John Ray. Put him right at John Ray's. They had John Ray blocking on Keith Hamilton. Watch this play here. There's John Ray against Keith Hamilton, trying to get the tight end down. Keith Hamilton loops out. A good block by the fullback, Woodard, and opened it up for Adrian Morrell. Now you got to tackle him, and that's the thing Don Nalen liked about him. Good balance, breaks tackles.
Well, he's got 50 yards now on 10 carries. And a Pitt player is down at the 45, and it appears as though it is Israel. Steve, as Mike Gottfried mentioned, was injured in the same ball game 2 years ago, and it was on a kick return. He was lost, to the best of my memory, he was lost for the rest of the year, wasn't he?
Ron, it was sad because I hope he's okay. He's a great kid.
So there's a timeout. Let's take it with him. 14:53 left until halftime, and the Panthers right now leading this one.
Let's take off our sneakers and get comfortable.
Uh-oh, sneaker odor.
Let's go to the movies.
Tame ferocious sneaker odor with Sneaker Tamers from Odor Eaters. Springy insoles with activated charcoal, the world's most powerful odor destroyer. Sneaker Tamers has it. This Scholl's doesn't. Sneaker Tamers absorb sweat, destroy sneaker odor, guaranteed for the life of your sneakers.
No more sneaker odor.
Sneaker Tamers from Odor Eaters.
They really want me to take that job in Chicago.
When the moment really matters, there's no better card than MasterCard. With payment flexibility and nearly 3 times the acceptance of American Express. So you can buy what you want, when you want. For the way we really live.
I've been thinking. Please stay.
MasterCard. Master the moment.
ESPN's college football, Pitt versus West Virginia, is brought to you by Jeep. There's only one Jeep. Well, during the timeouts in the quarter break, they've been trying to get the wave started here at Mountaineer Field, and they're very close to achieving that right now as across the wave begins to move. West Virginia this drive, third play, and they have covered a total of 22 yards. As we said, the edge in the statistics will be in favor of the Mountaineers, but right now, Don Nehlen's club is trailing by 4. Stud still. Gonna run it. Inside the 40, ball comes loose, but that fumble occurred after he hit the ground. Williams picked up the ball. It was Esters on the hit. But you could see the official say immediately, nope, the play is dead. And Mike, this is going to bring up about a half yard to get the first down.
Darren Studstill went back to pass. Nothing became available to him. Scrambled to the left, made a wise decision, tucked the ball down, ran it.
And did you see, with the way Morrell has run in the ballgame, did you see the way the interior lineman froze as he ran the play action first?
Yep.
Because he has already gained their respect.
It'll hold him every time.
Second down, about a yard. Maybe a down to play with as far as Don Nehlen is concerned. Let's see. Yep. Fakes the option. He's going to go long. Whipping it incomplete. It's going to be overthrown. And Mike Baker, the speedster from Waverly, Georgia, is the man that he was going for.
Good call by Don Nehlen and the staff. Even if you don't complete that, you get the secondary off of you. It was a badly thrown ball, too high, but you still now come back with a 3rd and short, and if you have to, a 4th and short situation to pick up this first down. One thing you might look for, Pitt is really running hard from the backside, which would set up a reverse right now. They're flowing so fast because of the option and Adrian Morrell, a reverse to Jet or Mike Beasley.
Woodard and Garrett in the backfield in the I formation. That's Weaver and Hill at the top of your screen. And again, a movement, and that is the 3rd time that we have seen a lineman move before the ball was snapped, and that time it was Shook.
I don't think they caught him on that move. He did move, but I don't think the official that would have seen him threw the flag. So I think this may go against Pitt because
That's right,
they missed
because
it.
Shook can move, can't he?
He can move, but he did jump a little bit, but the official that would have made the call on him did not throw the flag.
If you just joined us, 13:45 left until halftime. It's 7-3. Pitt leading to this one over West Virginia.
We have a dead ball foul. The tight end moved. He can legally reset. The defense jumped offside, so there's a 5-yard offside penalty.
You're exactly right. He can move, so it's going to be against Pitt.
Watch Alex Shook here. He moves, which drew the defense. Keith Hamilton, that's exactly what he's told to do, comes forth. The official on that side did not make the call on Alex Shook, and Pitt then was called for being offside.
I see what you were talking about. The flag came from the far side of the field rather than the short side.
That should have been on West Virginia.
So that's an automatic first down. West Virginia only needed 1. Garrett Ford comes back in the ballgame, number 32. They go option. No pitch, and Studstill will carry it maybe for a couple. Charles Williams, a sophomore from Philadelphia, number 53, will step up into the hole. And you know what? I thought that he did something to his shoulder on the last play. I don't know if it's a nerve or what, but you see him dropping that left shoulder, and that means immediately Chris Gray, I believe, comes into the ballgame, replacing him. Yes, number 16. And we'll get a progress report just as quickly as we can. But Mike, I thought it happened on the play prior or even 2 plays back.
It may have, and now Chris Gray has to come in cold.
He's a senior, 6'4", 270 pounds. He's out of New Jersey.
Just do something safe. Give the ball to Adrian Morrell.
Yep. Either the backs went the wrong way or quarterback who just came off the bench with the wrong way, and that is the danger of what happens when you come off there cold. That's Ricardo McDonald, who was there to just devour.
Ricardo McDonald.
Let's take a look at the play in which Studstill was injured.
You see Darren Studstill on the option. He's going to cut back. He's hit on the backside by Charles Williams, and in the pile somewhere there may have hurt his arm. Pitt is flowing so quickly. West Virginia has to do something to stop down that pursuit.
That's the first play that West Virginia has lost yardage on tonight. Woodard is the lone back. Gray still scrambling, and he will get out of bounds. It's Hamilton who rides him out at the 36-yard line. Esters was the one who was putting pressure on him initially. As all eyes in this stadium, particularly on the near side, the home side, are down on the bench, seeing possibly what is the extent of the injury to Darren Studstill.
Big question for Don Nalen right now. You're not sure your field goal kicking situation. I believe he's going to punt and try to put Pitt down the hole and let his defense come back on and play.
Mike Vanderjack, you're exactly right. He's a transfer from Hancock Junior College in California. Will come on to punt. And Steve Israel, who had a 73-yarder just a moment ago, standing back at the 10-yard line. Vanderjack very, very high. This is a knuckleball. And Pitt makes a fair catch at the 26-yard line. That's Israel who came up and made the catch. And that kick is only 10 yards. Only 10 yards on the punt. So let's take a break. 11:59 left until halftime. Pitt still leads by 4.
Tonight on the Adventure Channel, join explorer Marceau Soulinaire as he unlocks the mystery of the Great Barrier Reef.
Still going. Nothing outlasts the Energizer. They keep going and going.
Jeep Cherokee Sport is the perfect vehicle for traveling America's most famous roads. Like Wall Street, Pacific Coast Highway, Park Avenue, and, of course, Sunset Boulevard.
When it's time to turn on the heat, but that old furnace lets you down. Install the system you can rely on, Temstar. Replace that beast in the basement with reliable Temstar and get help. 5 years of extra protection on parts and labor, now at participating Temstar dealers. Get the furnace that's quiet, efficient, and extremely reliable. Temstar. Rely on the star.
Just before time is back in, we're going to go back and show you still another play. This is 3 plays, I believe, 2 anyway, before the injury. This is the long pass to Baker, and watch, he was not hit. But Mike, look at his reaction. It's almost like it's a nerve.
He may have been hit a play, 2 plays, maybe even 3 plays before that, and you can see he's kind of dragging it. Here's the last play before he came out. He just must have got it re-injured again on inside the pile.
So down on the bench, they are attending to Studstill. Meanwhile, Pitt back on offense. Jermaine Williams is the lone setback. Van Pelt hands it off to Jermaine. Cuts it back over the 30. Ball is loose at the 31-yard line. The Mountaineers say they have it, and let's see. Oh, they're still kicking and scratching underneath that pile, aren't they?
You tell your players to start pulling on it underneath that pile. Maybe you'll get one.
West Virginia comes up with the football. That's Briggs. And now let's see if it give it to him. Tom is a man who knocked his feet out from under him, and then the ball came loose. But no, that's going to stay with Pitt. Going to stay with Pitt. Pretty good lobby there on the point of Briggs.
Jermaine Williams took this ball in the backfield. Alex Van Pelt hands it deep. Watch the cutback. He's able to cut back. Almost broke this. Now let's watch and see if the ball comes loose. See the defensive player.
The ball had already come loose. Yeah, it was between his legs, Mike, by the time he came down on the ground. So Briggs should have been accorded the hero's welcome by the home crowd. Van Pelt on the reverse, gets the pass away. Incomplete, and it's Briggs who did a marvelous job of staying at home. Now, 2 back-to-back very good defensive plays.
Well, when you're playing against Alex Van Pelt, you can't get lulled to sleep because of the fake. You run, but you know eventually he's going to come out the backside. Briggs is taught, and Boris Graham go up the field. Always check Alex Van Pelt when he comes out. He has the ball or not. You make sure you check him.
Mike, I've just been told that Studstill has an injury to his collarbone. For sure will not play any more this half. They will evaluate it more at halftime.
That is a blow to West Virginia.
No doubt about it. 3rd down for Pitt. They need the 36.5. Van Pelt in the screen action over the middle. It is caught by Jermaine. Derek Wiley is right there to make the hit. Now let's see if Williams got enough for the first down. I believe he did. Graham and Briggs are the guys who were coming pell-mell.
Watch the pressure coming by Boris Graham. Alex Van Pelt, deep drop. Jermaine Williams, they didn't keep him in the block and circled him out right behind the defensive line. He was wide open. The backers were deep on a deep drop.
You know, in our meeting this morning, one of the things you were talking about, Alex is terribly tough to sack, isn't he?
Can't sack him. You may get to him every now and then, but I'll tell you, he's a heady competitor that feels the rush, knows how to get rid of the ball to backs, tight ends, somebody underneath. He won't take the sack. He's smart, and he doesn't throw bad passes. He may get intercepted every now and then, but it won't be because of bad decisions.
One of the things that the Pitt staff is concerned about tonight, and it's almost like the bridle on a racehorse. They're having to pull it a little bit tighter because they are so very young at wide receiver. People that have not played very much at all. In fact, in over 200 receptions last year, Boyer and Green caught a total of 16 passes. Everybody else is new. So they are trying to tell Alex he cannot get too complicated in the offense tonight. Handoff, this goes to DeVoe. Tries to get outside. He'll take it to the 40. And again, that swarming West Virginia defense is there to make the hit. Steve Grant, number 4. And you can see already why number 4, who plays that inside linebacking position, was named Don Nehlen's most valuable player for the entire squad last year.
Pitt, this ball game, has ran the ball pretty successful on first down. They haven't thrown much on first down. I wouldn't be surprised their next first down situation, they don't air it out and try to go for all the yardage they can get with a long bomb.
2nd down. They need about 7. Van Pelt, and he is going to air it out right now. Has a man wide open, complete, and Boyer falls down at the 32-yard line. 28 yards in the pass play as Boyer came free.
Alex did a nice job. Van Pelt, he gets pressure. This is an 8-man front pressure, and I think West Virginia, somebody fell down back here in the secondary, then got up. Chris Boyer's open. Makes the catch. Just wants to make a sure-handed catch right there. Ball underthrown a little bit. But I'll tell you another thing, Ron, that comes to mind right now. You lose your quarterback, you lose your leader. Sometimes your defense goes a little flat, too.
4 for 7 for 47 yards for Alex Van Pelt. DeVoe is the lone setback, the senior out of Cocoa, Florida. And he gets the handoff off the left side. Big opening there, and he's close to a first down as he takes it in the vicinity of the 25-yard line.
I talked to Steve Dunlap the other day. They've switched from a 50 defense to a 40 defense. One of the concerns he had was Pitt will go to 2 tight ends and stretch his defense. Can he hold up in the 40? The last 2 plays that Glenn DeVoe's run have been wide open. They may force West Virginia out of that 4-man front and force them back to a 50 front to try to balance up a little more. They're outnumbered right now off tackle.
DeVoe again, the lone setback. We mentioned Cocoa, Florida. You remember last year, so many players out of the Cocoa Merritt Island area. Good high school football in that part of the state. As the handoff goes to DeVoe, he'll have the first down. Battles through a couple of more tacklers and takes it down to the 14-yard line, and Leroy Axum from the left corner spot is there to make the stop. And Leroy is another player from Florida. He's from Miami.
Well, you know when your corners are making tackles on this, you're in trouble, and they're outflanked a little bit right now, and I look for them to make that switch, but right now off tackle they're outnumbered and they're in trouble.
All right, if you're Don, there's not really a thing you can do right now, is it?
I think he has to switch to a 50 defense and try to bounce up a little bit more, and he may have to blitz a little bit, even though he's not a blitzing type team.
8th play of the drive for Pitt. They already lead 7-3. This time they go to Jermaine Williams, and he cracks it at right guard in the vicinity of the 11-yard line. Again, number 4, Steve Grant, down at the bottom of the stack, along with Derek Wiley, a junior from Jeanette, Pennsylvania. Paul Hackett has to be enjoying what he has seen as far as taking time off the clock, and his team, as we head toward halftime, already leading by 4. Could they put 7 more on the scoreboard here? Because they missed an opportunity after an interception on the very opening series. They came away with no points.
Well, they quieted the crowd, too.
They really have. They have taken the 67,000+ out of it. Williams again. Good cut back inside. He's going to have the first down, and he'll mark the ball at the 5-yard line. Leroy Axum comes over again from the corner spot to make the stop.
Watch Jermaine Williams cut back. The play starts to the right. Watch this cut back right here. The linebacker's a little late, and here comes Leroy Axum, a corner all the way from the side to make the tackle. Jermaine Williams, sophomore from Detroit, Michigan, reads the cutback very well. It wasn't there at the point of attack. Take it backside.
It was also Wiley, number 45, who Mike was talking about, who got there just about a half step late. So it is 3rd down. Now they say he did not pick up the first down. Straight up the middle, DeVoe with the handoff, and he this time will pick up the first down, and he'll spot it at around the 3-yard line. Tom Briggs is down at the bottom of the pile. So a new set of downs. It is 1st and goal. We have 7:12 to play until halftime, and when you add the drive by Pittsburgh right now, the fact that West Virginia is down, and also their starting quarterback, Studstill, on the bench right now with a collarbone injury, and this crowd has become about a third of the factor that they were.
As much as they've run the ball, they've got to be ready, West Virginia, for a play-action pass.
DeVoe hammers it on the right side. You can see Axum, number 1 of the first men there to pound on him. And at 25, Mike Collins comes from that strong safety position. And let's see, they'll give him forward progress at around the 2.
If you're up in the press box and you're Pitt offensive coach right now, and you see the ball given to Glenn DeVoe, and you read the player making the tackle as a defensive back, number 1, that should tell you one thing. You can keep hammering it on in there. You got a close situation, so you can continue to do what you do. You may be successful, but you also got the play action pass.
Steve Grant also on the stop, and we'll see if they do just that. Movement, that's contact at the line of scrimmage, and DeVoe's going to walk it in, but they will penalize him half the distance to the goal. So rather than from the 2-yard line, Pitt will be scrimmaging from the 1 and 2nd down.
You go on ball movement, defensive lineman just a little bit anxious. Drawn off sides, moves it a little closer for Pitt.
So the situation, if you just joined us, Pitt leads this 1991 backyard brawl 7-3. They have it 2nd and goal, and that's how far they have to travel to make it 13-3.
Alex is pointing to the 25-second clock.
And there is a good sign of what the coaches talked about yesterday as far as the maturity of Alex Van Pelt. He looked directly at the 25-second clock and asked the official, saying, since you respotted it, shouldn't I get a fresh 25? And he was exactly right.
He may not get quite 25, but he's going to get a few.
So they're going to back the game clock up to 6:15, and they will put a new 25 on the clock, unless they're going to run it down from there.
What you want now, if you're the West Virginia coach, is somebody has to come up for a big play for you. You know, you just got to try to make something happen here. You've had a couple things happen to you, the quarterback injury, the fumble recovery you thought you had. But now somebody has to rise to the occasion. Pitt, on the other hand, can either try to punch it in right here or try to take the easy way.
Let's see, Mike. It's Moore in motion, and there we go. With the play action of the receiver, wide open, touchdown, Seaman. Seaman catches the touchdown pass, and Mike Godfrey hit the nail so squarely on the head when he said, look for the play action pass. That's exactly what they did. 12 plays, 73 yards for the Panthers on that drive. This is Scott Kaplan to attempt the extra point. Extra point attempt is good, and the Pitt Panthers go on top by a count of 14-3 with 5 minutes and 54 seconds. And you look at it one more time. Here's the fake to DeVoe and the throw to Seaman, and he is all alone.
Today's financial climate, you need the strength and stability of the Buffalo. At Hennessy and Bull.
Still going. Nothing outlasts the Energizer. They keep going and going and...
These are the machines of the 90s.
Fuel injection, overhead cams, multi-valve.
Today's high-tech engines demand high-tech protection. Kendall Motor Oil is specifically designed to provide the ultimate protection against heat and wear under the most extreme conditions. Don't take a chance with your high-tech engine. Use Kendall Motor Oil, formulated to protect your high-tech engine. Kendall Motor Oil, pour in the protection. Kendall, available at these locations.
In 13 cities in 10 countries across the Pacific, they're playing our song. United Airlines Royal Pacific Service, rededicated to giving you the service you deserve, halfway around the world. Come fly the friendly skies.
Let's take another look at Alex Van Pelt in his play-action pass, which Mike literally called just a moment ago.
Watch Eric Seaman, the tight end. Watch him block. Set it up first. You think it's a run. Now he just sneaks out. The backer gets caught up inside. It's just pitch and catch.
In fact, that's another thing that we talked about on our meeting this morning, is about jamming those tight ends and keeping them in. Thursday night, Tennessee, number 13 ranked in the preseason. Johnny Majors and his crew, can they make it 3 straight at the Southeastern Conference? We'll be sure and join Mike Patrick and Mike Gottfried, 8 o'clock, for the first of 7 exclusive Thursday telecast here on ESPN. Jett and Baker back at a dual safety, and right now what West Virginia needs for a lift is a Jett magic on a return. Lost his balance for a moment, and he comes to the 31-yard line. Let's go to Adrian Karsten, who is down on the sideline. Adrian.
Thank you very much. With me is Greg Van Pelt, father of Alex Van Pelt. Earlier this week, Greg, Alex said he would like to play West Virginia 17 times this season.
At least 11, I think. He enjoys this atmosphere.
This many people, 70,000, the backyard brawl really turns him on.
Yeah, it does.
He grew up 25 miles from here in Grafton, West Virginia. Was he ever called or recruited by West Virginia? All right. Thank you very much, Ron and Mike.
Okay. Thanks very much, Carson. Or Adrian, I beg your pardon. Mr. Van Pelt, man, a few words, much akin to his son at times, as the pass goes for Beasley and incomplete. And Let's talk strategy right now. You got a quarterback for starters. Not only has he not played that much, he hasn't been getting a majority of the snaps with the first team. How much of a difference does that make?
Well, there's no doubt that they're at a disadvantage right now, but a star could be born right now. Chris Gray has an opportunity ahead of him. I think Don Nalen has to change his game plan. Now you go to a power running game with Adrian Morrell, Carl Hayes, and you open up and throw a drop back game with Chris Gray. Forget the option. You may be able to run it every now and then, get the ball kicked out, but it's going to be an Adrian Morrell passing game.
Gray in second down, rolls the pocket, has a man wide open. It's Jett over the middle, caught at the 42-yard line, and James will move the chain. So the first down by West Virginia since the injury to Studstill.
Who was that in the Stars born? Chris Christopherson? Let's see who this could be right here. Chris Gray sets, drops back, little play action pass. He just waits for James Jett wide open. Now, Pitt has a problem now. They're playing against the option. Now you got a guy coming in throwing the ball. You have to change your plan a little bit also.
Gray has been hampered by injuries throughout his career. Injured a finger in 90, missed 8 games. A shoulder back in 89, which ended that season as the pass is thrown complete this time to Shook. I like Shook, the former fullback who now plays the tight end. He knows how to cover up the football and do something with it after he catches it.
Well, he made a great catch there early down on the 10-yard line going away from the scoreboard, but they also have another tight end, Keith Braley, who I liked in practice a lot as a receiver.
In fact, Shook is probably more the blocker of the two, isn't he? And Braley the pass catcher.
Right.
Ball just inside the 49-yard line. And they go with Morrell on the delay, diving forward. He's not going to have the first down. As defensively, that was Nelson Walker that got just enough of him. Keith Hamilton also was diving to the play, trying to trip him up. Maybe got a piece of his ankle. Don Nalen paces. He's got to keep his mind out here on the field, but also wondering what is going on in the locker room with Studstill and his quarterback. He, too, has to change stride right here as far as what they're going to do. West Virginia, 4 of 8 on third down conversions. Morrell has the first down and 5 more as he battles to the 41-yard line. Doug Whaley makes the stop on Adrian Morrell, but the youngster from Hawaii is making himself a grand introduction here on this Saturday evening.
Made a nice cut there. Conditioning's a factor in this ballgame. Noise level's a factor. You have a noise problem when you try to check off offensively. You have a noise problem defensively when that crowd gets into it trying to get your different checks. And there's no tendencies in the first game. No one has any tendencies, so you
don't have anything to work off of, do you?
Not really. Last year's film, and hope they don't change.
Morrell again fights for 5, breaks it out again. Look at the second effort. Israel will knock him out of bounds just inside the 30-yard line at the 29. And now I can understand in watching this, Morrell in one game in high school in Hawaii had 332 yards, and you could see why.
Ron, I'll tell you who made a great play on this. Adrian Morrell with a great job running, but Steve Israel, you tell your defensive backs, make a picket fence, don't ever allow them outside. Watch Steve Israel. He's the only one to stop Adrian Morrell. He's able to come over and knock him out of bounds. A great play by Steve Israel.
Well, last year the hero of this game was Michael Beasley, who rushed for 197 and already 13 carries, 70 yards for Adrian Morrell. Gray's going to scramble and gets out of bounds. He'll pick up maybe a half yard. Keith Hamilton was coming on real quickly, and I know what Don Nalen was thinking, son, get out of bounds. I don't need my second team quarterback hurt now.
This is the area of the field where Pitt now will try to blitz Chris Gray. He's not a very mobile quarterback, as you saw right there. Has a good arm. Now, when you try to blitz a guy like Darren Studstill, he can be all over the field, waggling, moving. But you got Chris Gray, you know where he's going to be, so you can set your stunts now right for him.
More controlled environment.
Set your stunts, your 8-man front. I wouldn't be surprised they bring the kitchen sink after him right now.
Weaver and Baker in at wide receiver, top of the screen. And they come with a counter action. That's Rodney Woodard. Trying to catch Pitt in maybe a guessing game with a little backdoor action. They come to the 28. And Tumulty, the freshman from Penn Hills, Pennsylvania, the parade All-American, is there to make the stop.
I've been impressed with him. He's played well here in the first half for a freshman. He is now maybe one game into his sophomore year. I'll tell you, he's played well. Very impressed.
Big kid also for a freshman at 6'4", 236.
Watch Morrell coming back across the green.
Well, they got it going long right down the middle, but Gray doesn't have time to look for him. Now throws the pass, and it's complete to his tight end, Grayley. And that is enough for the first down. Or did he go beyond the line of scrimmage, Mike?
I don't think so.
I don't see a marker down. He was very close to the line of scrimmage. And Grayley a little shaken up after the hit.
We talked about Doug Grayley a little bit ago. He has excellent hands, and he worked himself free. Here comes the blitz again. Now Pitt's going to try to heat him up. Ricardo McDonald comes around the corner. They get good pressure up inside. Excellent job by Chris Gray. He knew he couldn't run for it. He gets the ball to Doug Grayley for the first down.
Well, you were right also as far as Morrell was concerned, except they didn't hook him up over the middle. They had him run in a post. Morrell gets the handoff, goes right side. Has a couple in the vicinity of the 15, maybe the 14-yard line. As Doug Whaley from that strong safety position, he's had a very good first half as well. He's there to make the stop.
Pitt's defense has done a very good job in this red zone to date. And they've got another challenge here right now on a good drive by West Virginia. Look for crossing routes down here. That's what you try to do with your offense.
Second down, the line to make is just inside the 6 as Garrett Ford comes in at tailback. He gets the call and gets banged, but fights his way to the 12. And possibly because of experience and the fact that Garrett Ford's a little larger than Morrell. He's close to 230 pounds. Tom Bart, the freshman from Mentor, Ohio, knocks him off his feet.
Watch John Ray and Alex Shook right here with a free safety blitz on right here, and they ran right into it. But again, they picked up about 5 yards, puts them in a third, 6, 7-yard situation.
West Virginia 6 of 10 on third down conversions. They have made their last 3. Woodard and Ford behind the quarterback Gray. Gray in the grasp, and he will go down. It's Ricardo McDonald. Oh my goodness, what a huge play. All the way back to the 20-yard line.
They ran a waggle with Chris Gray, and again, he's not that mobile. Ricardo McDonald took on the block of Joe Ayuso, the guard. What Chris Gray had to do was pull up.
Mark Johnson will come on, pardon me, Mike, as they are out quickly. This is going to be an attempt of 37 yards. He is 1 of 1 tonight. Hit his first attempt in the 91 season. Little better angle this time. Is he long enough? Yes, but off to the right and no good. So West Virginia, and put an asterisk by the move by Ricardo McDonald as he makes the sack back at the 20. And let's take a timeout. Only 23 seconds left until halftime.
Excuse me, do you know what stock options are?
I wish I did.
The information you know you should know is in the Wall Street Journal's video guide to money and markets. This exclusive 30-minute video is free. When you call for 13 weeks of the journal for just $37, that's over 20% off the newsstand price.
Call toll-free 800-832-8700 for 13 weeks of the Wall Street Journal and your free video on money and markets. That's 800-832-8700.
You, my friend, can use some fun. Big fun. Las Vegas, Atlantic City, cruise ships. But you got to take this along, the Players Club card. It's going to save you a lot of money. 25 to 50% off fabulous resort hotels, 25% off meals and drinks, up to 50% off shows and entertainment. Come on. Call Players Club for much more information free. You're too smart to pay full price.
New members get 2 free nights in Las Vegas or Atlantic City when the club books their flights. Call toll-free now.
As you can see, only 23 ticks left on the clock until halftime, and coming up at halftime, Tim Brando and Lee Corso will give you the latest updates on games in progress, and we are dying to hear what's going on down in South Alabama as Auburn was trailing at halftime to Georgia Southern 14-3. They'll tell us about that game and recap the other action in today's opening Saturday in college football. DeVoe gets the handoff, and he'll take it as they stay very conservative and will let this clock run down and head to halftime up by 11 points as Boris Graham down at the bottom of the pile. So don't forget Brando and Lee Corso coming up at halftime, and right now as they head to the locker room, they're going to take a timeout. And in the first 30 minutes of play in this 1991 backyard brawl, it is the Panthers of Pitt leading by 11.
Jack Nicklaus, Ian Baker Finch, Greg Norman. Just some of the champions Wayne Levy must beat to defend his Canadian Open title. Complete coverage begins Thursday afternoon at 3:30 Eastern, live on ESPN.
Let's go, boys. Game time.
The dynamic duo of Andy Kelly and Carl Pickens leads Tennessee against All-American Ray Buchanan and the Louisville Cardinals.
It's a jungle out there.
Live on ESPN.
West Virginia University is a special place. The excitement of a new academic year touches every student, freshman or graduate, and each student arrives with the opportunity to discover new ways of learning, new paths to public service, professional career, and personal fulfillment. WVU is more than a great university. It's a feeling, a pride, a place to truly come alive in mind, body, and spirit. West Virginia University, welcome home.
The way to not win in tennis is to think too much about your opponent. Because in tennis, you don't just play the opponent. You've got to play the ball. It's how you play the ball that determines whether your shot is in or out. Whether the point is won or lost. Play the ball better than your opponent, and you'll play winning tennis. Now, you can play the ball and win with this double offer from Tennis Magazine. You'll receive a free half-hour video by Tennis Magazine instruction editor Vic Braden, plus a full year, 12 issues of Tennis Magazine. Call this number now and change the way you play tennis. What a combination. The How to Play Winning Tennis with Vic Braden video, plus the magazine that brings more instruction to more tennis players than any other.
Call 800-521-2170 for a full year of Tennis Magazine plus the free video. Just $13.77. Call 800-521-2170 now.
Welcome back to our ESPN Halftime Report. I am Tim Brando. Lee Corso is by my side. Now let's start with the story of the day for the Heisman frontrunner. Remember, Ty Detmer, and for all intents and purposes, won it in Week 1 last year against Miami in the first game. Well, maybe, just maybe, David Klingler has done the same. Look at the numbers against Louisiana Tech. 36 for 57, 510 yards, 9 touchdowns. That's just the beginning. Take a look at the rest of the story on Klingler. 6 touchdown passes in the second quarter. I believe my partner, Lee Corso, said earlier today on College Game Day he'd have 6 by the third quarter. He got 6 in 1 quarter alone. And a huge, huge day for him indeed. David Klingler well on his way, and you can say, well, John Jenkins running it up again. It's just a number story against Louisiana Tech, yet David Klingler is for real.
He's a great quarterback, and John Jenkins, a coach, told me he'd be the greatest quarterback in run and shoot because he's the first quarterback he hasn't had to convert from another kind of offense. Where was a running quarterback? Klingler will break every passing record in the history of the NCAA unless he gets hurt, and he won't get hurt because he's big and strong.
Remember, you said Detmer last year. Probably will be Klingler this year. It is the year of the quarterback once again. Miami and Arkansas playing in Little Rock today. The nation's number 3 ranked Canes trying to change their image, but at the same time win by large margins. Jack Crow, a long day again for him, a beleaguered coach in Arkansas. And here goes Gina Torretta.
Gina Torretta faked to the inside. His Horace Coleman. Copeland right down the sideline. He goes 99 yards a touch. What I like about Coleman, look at that. Black shoes and black socks. The new image at Miami.
Meanwhile, big day for Stephen McGuire again. They got it done on the ground and in the air. Torretta, 17 of 33, 297 yards, couple of touchdowns. They were roasting some hog, but it wasn't in Fayetteville. It was in Little Rock today, and the Hogs, of course, headed to the SEC. It will be a tough year on Jack Crow, and, of course, they have 1 year remaining not in the SEC. They'll go into that league next year. Georgia Southern taking on Auburn. Speaking of the SEC, Auburn with its newfound offense in the third quarter. They were down 17-3 at the half. They've scored a touchdown in the third quarter to make it 17-10. Interesting note, Tim Stowers, the coach at Georgia Southern, played at Auburn, and he also played on both sides of the line of scrimmage, both offensively and defensively, doing it to his alma mater today. Georgia and Western Carolina, 48-0. New offensive scheme for the Dogs. Ray Goff, critical year. Played Western Carolina, a team that's been very difficult defensively for them the last couple of years, so this is not really a good sign of what Georgia has offensively when they take on better competition. Mississippi State and Cal State Fullerton, 28-3. Jackie Sherrill in his debut in Starkville, rolling along. in that ball game. Mississippi and Tulane, 22-3, the final in that game. Brian Lee of Mississippi, a school record 5 field goals. And when you consider how they've shortened the width, pretty good statistic when you stop and consider that. Now, the bad news in college athletics today taking place in South Bend, Indiana. Notre Dame quarterback Rick Meyer, along with linebacker Demetrius DeBose, who happens to be the best linebacker returning for Lou Holtz's club, were arrested on charges of public intoxication and disorderly conduct at an off-campus party last night. They were released on a $100 bond. Now, one police officer, Norval Williams, was quoted in the South Bend Tribune as having said that no alcohol was found on the breath of the quarterback, Rick Meyer. SID John Heisler indicated that Lou Holtz would make a decision as to the eligibility for both players in next week's Indiana game at practice tomorrow. If Meyer is needed to have a replacement, if he is found to be suspended for next week's game, the logical starter, Kevin McDougal, he only threw 2 passes last year. The transfer, B.J. Hawkins, would likely have been the candidate, but he is now with George Welch at Virginia. He chose to transfer. We won't transfer. We're going to hang around for a couple of more segments. At halftime, ECU with a celebration, but you can't celebrate in college football any longer. It's becoming the NFL, we're sad to say.
A high-output 4-liter engine, anti-lock brakes, and shift-on-the-fly full-time 4-wheel drive. Make Jeep Cherokee the ultimate vehicle for the hustle and bustle of everyday life.
This is Sylvie Dangler, Canadian Olympic speed skater. Over the years, she skated over 100,000 miles, done over 1 million sit-ups and 2 million leg lifts, almost all of it before most people get out of bed. But if you think she's tough, wait till you see the guys at the ticket window if you don't have your Visa card. Because once again, the Olympics don't take American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
Sarah, keep an eye on your brother.
Face it, you never really know how demanding business is going to be.
Go ahead.
So more and more companies are choosing Konica, the copiers they know they can rely on.
Let's go, kids.
No matter what size your company, no matter what size the job, Konica copiers are ready. Konica, capturing the imagination.
You remember last year we had a lot of bad calls, In the Big Ten, we had some bad calls in the Big 8, 5 downs. You'll recall, well, it didn't take long for us to have a bad call in college football. It happened in our inaugural for 91. Look at John McAvoy looking patriotic. And in the second quarter, Camino Bell looks a little more than patriotic. Look at these moves by Camino. He will go all the way for a touchdown, 55 yards, 24-10 Illini. Second half, East Carolina coming back. Quarterback Jeff Blake will find Deion Johnson. It's 38-24 at this point with under 2 minutes to play. And Johnson hooks it to the sidelines, and he will go all the way for the touchdown. It's 38-31. Got to go on sides. Only one timeout remaining for East Carolina. The kicker, Anthony Brennan. The coach, Bill Lewis. And the man that makes the recovery, Clayton Driver. East Carolina's ball. It's just college football, a little exuberance, a little pumped up league.
Yes, and this is the celebration right there. And you know what? You cannot believe this. They're going to call a penalty on East Carolina, calling the Miami rule, and for too much celebration. There's Bill Lewis. Yeah. Unbelievable frustration.
And then, of course, that took the air right out of the sails of the East Carolina offense. 15 yards takes them back from midfield down to the 35-yard line. They have to come a much longer distance. Can't really use the clock the way they would have normally used it. The taunting rule and the celebration rule. Obviously, it's a judgment call. You see the final, 38-31. Illinois played well. Verduzco really had a great game. But the bottom line here is, Lee, it's another misapplication of a judgment call put in by the Rules Committee. Dave Nelson's phone will be ringing again tomorrow.
The reason I don't like that, it takes away the enthusiasm of college football, but it also puts the pressure on the officials. Anytime you have a judgment call, you open it up for error. Now, look, there's nothing wrong with that. Now, watch. Right now, if you can see it, they'll see a flag right there. You see the flag come in? So they must have called it either on someone else or a phantom.
Yeah. By the way, the rules application there, according to what we learned from the Illinois press box, was that the call was made because taunting took place with the football by Clayton Driver to the opponent. Well, you could see clearly from the tape that was his own player. That was Floyd, number 34, Greg Floyd, who was on the receiving end of that taunt, that presumed taunt that took place.
And Bill Lewis's thought will be all day and all night tomorrow that it was a judgment call that killed him. Now, if it was a rule interpretation, that's just the official absolutely blew that one.
Yeah. Well, the officials don't need any more judgment calls to have to deal with. That is obvious. All right, let's move on to Eastern Kentucky and Louisville. The last time Louisville lost to a Kentucky-based team, 1985 against EKU, a Division I AA power through the years. But there is another Browning Nagel on the horizon. He's Jeff Brom, and look at him. Dance and prance and find Darrell Boykin, 36 yards the strike. Louisville, though, would be in trouble late in this game, come away with a 24-14 win. They may have been looking ahead to this Thursday's game against Tennessee, the one that you'll be able to see here on ESPN. Mike Patrick and Mike Gottfried will be on hand for it as Johnny Majors invades Louisville. Louisville has won 8 straight at home after that victory today. Rutgers and Boston College playing in the first ever Big East game, and Coach Coughlin comes away a loser in his debut with BC, 20-13. Air Force and Weber State, 48-31. Rob Perez, another big day for Fisher DeBerry's club. Colorado State beats Arkansas State. Arkansas State, by the way, moving up to Division I. They're a pretty good program. Kevin Verdugo had 144 yards passing. Hawaii and Wyoming, 32-17, and a Rainbow Rooski in this game by Bob Wagner's team to help secure the victory. And don't forget, you'll be able to see Wyoming take on Colorado. The Buffaloes can't wait at 7:30 Eastern Time next Saturday right here on ESPN. Stay right where you are. When we come back, we'll have more as our ESPN halftime report continues. You got to be tough in the short yardage. Glenn DeVoe was on 4th down for Paul Hackett's club, and they lead by 11 at intermission.
For the past 2 years, more hardworking truck owners switched to Chevy than to any other truck. And now Chevy full-size pickup is America's best-selling truck. Listen. Number 1, for one simple reason. They work. The heartbeat of America. Chevrolet. Today's number 1 truck is Chevrolet.
When it's time to turn on the heat, but that old furnace lets you down. Install the system you can rely on, Temstar. Replace that beast in the basement with reliable Temstar and get help. 5 years of extra protection on parts and labor, now at participating Temstar dealers. Get the furnace that's quiet, efficient, and extremely reliable. Temstar. Rely on the star.
Win a trip for 2 to the Thrifty Car Rental Holiday Bowl, including 5 days in sunny San Diego. You'll see a great game, visit SeaWorld, and drive away in a 1992 Chrysler LeBaron convertible. To enter, stop by any Thrifty Car Rental location or fill out the official entry form in select Monday editions of USA Today. Or simply print your name and address on a 3x5 card and mail to this address. Round-trip air transportation provided by U.S. Air.
We welcome you back. Tim Brando along with Lee Corso, our ESPN halftime report. You get our opinions on who we think is going to be number 1 throughout the course of the year. But Mike Gottfried, our expert analyst on Thursday night and on Saturday night as well, as I turn to you back there in West Virginia, who do you like?
Well, Tim, if you put a gun to my head right now, I'd take Florida State. They have so much team speed, and I like Casey Weldon to push for the Heisman Trophy. But here are 6 teams that I think have a chance to win the national championship. The 6 who could. Clemson may have one of the stingiest defenses in the country. Their leader is 4-year starter Levon Kirkland. The man they call Robo Kirk spearheads a defense that allowed only 10 TDs all last year. With a favorable non-conference schedule and 5 ACC contests in Death Valley, their schedule is made to order for a national championship run. Sooner fans are happy again. Probation is over, and their non-conference schedule includes the likes of North Texas and Utah State. The 1991 edition boasts more of an air attack with Cale Gundy at the helm. And the strength of the defense will be in the secondary, where all 4 starters return. The schedule makers weren't so kind to Notre Dame. The Irish face 7 bowl teams from last year, but avoid a confrontation with Miami. Even without the Rocket, Notre Dame continues to be blessed with outstanding talent. Look for quarterback Rick Meyer to do what he can to get the ball to senior tight end Derek Brown and the Irish to roll. Like Notre Dame, Penn State is burdened with a formidable schedule. They've already passed one test by defeating last year co-national champion Georgia Tech. Joe Paterno once again has an all-star core of linebackers, and Tony Saka is due to emerge at the quarterback position. Every 4 or 5 years, Penn State seems to battle for the national championship trophy. It's been 5 years since Penn State's last one. If Michigan can get by early season foes Notre Dame, Florida State, Iowa, and Michigan State, wow, the Wolverines will be in the driver's seat. The offensive line returns almost all intact, led by 320-pound senior tackle Greg Strepanek. What may put Michigan over the top is its personnel in the skilled positions. The Houston Cougars hope to put their stamp on the championship trophy, but first they need to get by Miami and Illinois. David Klinger makes Houston a team to reckon with. The Cougars will have a quarterback who seems to score at will and a defense better than people give credit. John Jenkins has his Cougar machine positioned for a run. And Tim, if you'll allow me to, you and Lee Corso, I'll add another team next week.
Too late. It's too late. Lee's going to take care of you now. Thank you, Mike. You know, I really believe it's going to be Florida State and Penn State at the end of the year, but he didn't mention a couple of teams I know you like.
He didn't. Miami, the Hurricanes, they could play. I don't care if.
No, wait a minute.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
He didn't mention Miami?
He didn't mention Miami?
Wow.
Maybe he's trying to get on their good side. And Washington. Listen, don't forget the Huskies. I don't care if they got a quarterback or not. Washington and Miami also.
Don James, left out. That's right. Mike Gottfried. Remember that at the end of the year. Stay with us. We'll be back with more levity and information.
All the trucks in its class. Only Chevy 4-door S10 Blazer gives you 4-wheel anti-lock brakes, standard, which helps you steer through a curve while braking. Without it, you don't have as much control. And why should that be important to you? Because in the real world, safety doesn't have to be an option. Chevy S10 Blazer.
The heartbeat of America. Today's truck is Chevrolet.
Another wimpy sandwich.
Not me. I've got Vintage Farms Deli Loaf. It's got real sliced meat chunks.
Still going. Nothing outlasts the Energizer. They keep going and going and go.
These are the machines of the 90s.
Fuel injection, overhead cams, fully valve.
Today's high-tech engines demand high-tech protection. Kendall Motor Oil is specifically designed to provide the ultimate protection against heat and wear under the most extreme conditions. Don't take a chance with your high-tech engine. Use Kendall Motor Oil, formulated to protect your high-tech engine. Kendall Motor Oil, pour in the protection. Kendall, available at these locations.
Jack Nicklaus, Ian Baker Finch, Greg Norman. Just some of the champions Wayne Levy must beat to defend his Canadian Open title. Complete coverage begins Thursday afternoon at 3:30 Eastern, live on ESPN.
Quickly, some other scores we need to tell you about. Hokie High, they're the boys from VPI. They're leading James Madison 34-12 in the fourth. Tulsa, TJ Rubley, 2 touchdown passes, remember his name, over Southwest Missouri State right now. Southwest Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns of Nelson Stokely leading Northeast Louisiana 10-7, that game now in the second. And Delaware, the Hens, 21-0 right now in the fourth quarter over Westchester State. When we come back, you'll be hearing from Ron Franklin and the man that wants to add another team to his top list next week, Mike Gottfried.
Planning. Where'd I get the capital to start this business with my daughter? By investing for the long haul. And forget full commission brokers. I called Charles Schwab. Munis, mutual funds, blue chips, and I save plenty with Schwab's low commissions. Every day I tell my daughter, think long term. Make your own decisions. Be your own man.
Choices. Dad's conservative, and that's okay, but I'm after high return.
At Schwab, I can be aggressive. I just bought some high-growth mutual funds and an undervalued stock I know will take off, all by computer and at Schwab's low commissions.
Dad says, plan ahead, get there first. Maybe that's why my name's on the door first.
For a free Schwab Fact Kit, call toll-free 800-322-3700. That's 800-322-3700. 322-3700.
We give you more ways to succeed.
Welcome back to Morgantown with our score at halftime. Pittsburgh 14-3, and we have just received word from the West Virginia bench that Studstill will not be able to play in the second half. The good news is the collarbone is not broken, but the team orthopedic surgeon says it is far too painful for him to play in the second half. Mike with them, they have 122 yards in the first half. They have only 48 since he went to the bench. What does this mean for West Virginia?
Well, West Virginia has to change their game plan. Again, it gives Chris Gray a chance to emerge as a star right now.
Let's take a look right now at what we think was the key play that got things going for Pitt in that first half. Special teams, and it did it for him last year.
Steve Israel, an outstanding kickoff return. Watch him set it up, oh. He catches the ball, and he starts up the middle of the field. Now he breaks outside and creates the big play. James Jett makes the tackle. But what he did here, he answered the call. West Virginia scored the field goal 3-0. Now he sets Pitt back up in good field position and silenced the crowd a little bit.
Okay, the stats in that first half might get a little bit misleading.
Well, I think the biggest stat is the total net yards, 170 yards for West Virginia and 100 yards for Pitt. But where Pitt has done a great job, their defense has not allowed the big play, the big pass or Adrian Morrell to make a big play on a big run.
So you can look at those numbers and say, well, West Virginia probably is closer in this football game, but not the case. 14-3 right now, and they've got to make some adjustments and some decisions, and also forget the fact that Studstill is not going to be available or has been injured in this ball game. Gray is the guy who will carry him the distance. Sauerbrunn kicks it out of the back of the end zone. He is another youngster that has just come out. He's a freshman from Seatucket, New York, that Don Nealon is pleased about. He will handle long field goal attempts, and also, as you can see on kickoff returns, well, with kickoffs like that, there won't be many returns.
That's how you handle Steve Israel.
That's how you neutralize the burners on the special teams. Jermaine Williams and Glenn DeVoe will open as the setbacks for Pitt in the second half. And again, reminding you that the Panthers up 14-3. They have only 100 total yards in offense, but it doesn't matter. The most important stat to them is up there on the board. Van Pelt swings it out, and that's DeVoe. And he gets rocked hard. Terrace Alexander hit him first, and then that was Mike Collins, number 25, who came into the picture to really lay the wood on him and knock him out of bounds.
Remember what I said earlier, Ron? They ran on most first downs. There's Terrace Alexander who made the tackle. They opened up the second half. Good play call, first down, good play action pass to Glenn DeVoe.
Also, Markell has checked into the backfield, and he is one that the coaches really didn't talk that much about. Number 40. Van Pelt, pass overthrown at the 35-yard line. He was looking for Chad Askew, and that's the first one tonight really that got away from Alex.
Little high, threw it from the middle of the field and overthrew the receiver, Chad Askew. What West Virginia has to do now in defense is they have to play a little more aggressive and try to force a turnover. In the first ball game like this, you'd like to get something turned over, get this crowd back in the game for them. If you're Pitt, you just want to methodically do what they've been doing. They've been very successful moving the ball.
Glenn DeVoe now comes back into the lineup. Caught the pass a moment ago, had 23 receptions last year. Actually, he's kind of taken over the Redmond role. And understand that they may get him back in September. As the run goes to the right over the 35 to the 36. Wiley making the stop on DeVoe.
Derek Wiley, the middle linebacker, watch him, checks it, sees it, it's a run all the way, scrapes over, avoids a block, makes the tackle on Glenn DeVoe. Kept his shoulders square and moved behind the football and made a good tackle. Out of Jeanette, Pennsylvania. Had a brother, Dante Wiley, who was a highly recruited player several years ago.
Crowd comes to life, which is something they did very early on, but they have not been that much of a factor on this third down play. Pelt comes the other way. It is tipped and almost intercepted. Pass intended for Boyer on the near sideline. And it's twice in this series that Alex, going against the grain, has let the ball fly on him a little bit.
It's a long way to throw the out. Kwame Smith stepped in front of him, almost made that interception. Alex just didn't get a lot on that ball. Good series for the West Virginia defense. Here's the out. Watch the out route by the receiver. Watch Kwame Smith come up. He's in great shape. He almost intercepted that football. A little high for him.
Kevin Leon. James Jett is the deep man back. Leon, a transfer from Fullerton, 5'10", 185 pounds. He's a junior. Driving spiral. This is a good one. Jett from the 20. Flag comes down from deep downfield. He returned it a total of 8 yards, 43 yards in the kick. But this one is going to come back. Whaley is the man who was there on the special teams to make the tackle. And that is a clip, a hit from behind by West Virginia. So as if they weren't starting deep enough, they're going to back it up inside the 20.
Watch the right side of your screen. James Jett here starting to the wide side of the field. There's the clip right here on Jimmy Royal, the center. Usually when a center snaps the ball, he's the first one down. They clipped him, put West Virginia in bad field position. Penalties have hurt West Virginia a little bit. Little penalties, but they've hurt them.
And also, as we mentioned, in last year's ball game, special teams, whether in distance of return or in scoring or in block kicks, again, it has been special teams that has been somewhat of the nemesis for the Mountaineers tonight. And Don had told us earlier this week he was terribly concerned about special teams.
Special teams in the first game, I don't care if it's high school, biddy football, or whatever. You're just most vulnerable because you can't practice special teams against your own people. You really need live special team work, and you don't get it in practice.
Gray opens it at quarterback in the second half, and the run goes for maybe one. And let's update what is happening down on the plain. It is Auburn now on top, 24-17 over Georgia Southern. Mississippi State leading comfortably over Fullerton. Pat Dye and company, though, getting off to a little bit of a scary start.
Well, those extra scholarships are coming in handy in the second half. Division I against Division I AA, wearing them out.
That's a good point. Second down, still about 10. Gray straight drop this time. Over the middle, has it complete. That is Shook. The tight end is not going to have the first down, but it'll be a third down and about 2. Tom Tumulty. You'll see number 84 come into the picture. He came in and gave him a pretty good pop.
Sean Gilbert got a good rush on Chris Gray. Sean Gilbert sat out a year. He's out of Aliquippa, Pennsylvania, the home of Mike Ditka. And he is an outstanding defensive lineman. As I said before, he and Keith Hamilton may be as good a pair as you're going to see defensive linemen in the country.
Woodard, the lone setback in the 3rd and 2. Movement at the line of scrimmage. Flags all over the place. Now Hamilton with a little conversation for the offensive line, and the official pushes him back. And I think Ayuso came out of his stance too quickly.
You hit a good point a little while ago.
Dead ball foul. False start on the offense. Still third down.
Second team quarterback doesn't get a lot of work in practice. His cadence is different. You're in a crowd noise situation, first game, and that's exactly what happened.
5 penalties now against the Mountaineers. So rather than a third down and 2, well, this changes or can change the play drastically. They need 7 to pick it up. They need the 22. Gray delivers it and almost intercepted as it went through the hands of Jett. That was Lex Perkins who almost got the interception.
Here you watch Chris Gray set up. It's a throwback pass. He's throwing back against the grain. He's looking for the tight end, but he doesn't come open. James Jett does. It's a catchable ball, almost picked off after it went through his hands. Pretty good coverage by Pitt.
Landerjack, his first punt, you remember, only with 10 yards. Better get more than that on this one, and he does. He rides it. Israel signaling for the fair catch, and it is made back at the 32-yard line. So that is a 51-yard kick. Let's go away for a moment. 12-10 left in the third. Pitt still on top.
For the past 2 years, more hardworking truck owners switched to Chevy than to any other truck. And now Chevy full-size pickup is America's best-selling truck. Number one, for one simple reason. They work.
The heartbeat of America.
Today's number one truck is Chevrolet.
I can't tell you how it feels when you're way out there on your own tracking the bad guys. How it feels leading a skilled team that's the eyes and ears of the whole outfit. When all your training is coming alive. But finding those tanks and telling the air cavalry right where to hit them, I can tell you exactly how that feels.
A mild case of athlete's foot is one thing. A really tough case, that's something else. The irritating itch, the painful cracking, the burning. That's when you want a medicine that acts tough. Tough-Actin Tinactin. Tinactin cures even the tough cases of athlete's foot fungus. And Tinactin's clinically proven. No wonder it's the antifungal most recommended by pharmacists. So when you've got a tough case of athlete's foot, get the medicine that acts tough. Tough-Actin Tinactin.
If it happens in baseball, you'll see it on ESPN.
There he goes. He leaps. He makes the catch.
See Tuesday night doubleheaders, Wednesday night excitement, Friday night twin bills, and exclusive Sunday night action. The power and speed of Barry Bonds is keeping the Pirates on top. Will Clark is determined to keep the Giants in the race. The Pirates and the Giants live Monday afternoon at 4:30 Eastern. Part of an ESPN Labor Day triple header.
ESPN's college football, Pitt versus West Virginia, is brought to you by Chevy Trucks. More people are winning with the heartbeat of America. By the way, we mentioned off the top of the telecast tonight, it's the 100th birthday as far as Mountaineer football. And a helmet with 100 on the side was worn by a kicker by the name of Chuck Kindergarten. In 1963, it commemorated the state of West Virginia's centennial. And Mike, he's thought to be only the third player to be sanctioned to the NCAA to wear a number with triple digits. Our score, 14-3. Pitt leading. Alex Van Pelt over the middle as a flag comes down deep, and I think this one is going to come back as Jermaine Williams caught the pass, but that looks like offensive holding from where the flag was thrown back at the 25. And that's going to be it. Well, ESPN's NFL Game Day makes its season premiere tomorrow. That's at noon Eastern Time. Chris Berman, Tommy Jackson, Joe Theismann will bring you pro football's most comprehensive pregame show. And then at 7 o'clock, Chris and TJ are back with Prime Time, where you'll see the highlights of all the day's games.
See our new rule here, Ron, where they move the ball back further because where the referee caught the holding.
So let's explain that again for those that might not have heard off the top of the telecast. Rather than the previous spot, which is the previous line of scrimmage, or that's what when you hear the rule or someone say from the previous spot, it actually goes from where the foul occurred. So on this play right here, rather than moving that back to about the 23-yard line, it's all the way back to the 15-yard line.
Went 18 yards back.
Van Pelt swings it out of the backfield. That's DeVoe. Hot pursuit, number 25. And now a flag comes in and either late hit or face mask on that one. Mike Collins has had a good game tonight. Made some good plays all over the field. Houston scores 73 points in their ball game against Louisiana Tech.
5-yard penalty on the defense. Still playing first down.
Watch Mike Collins reach here. Did he get the face mask? Can't see it. I'm sure the official's got a better view than I do, so he did get it, and that they pick up the 5-yard penalty, plus they repeat first down.
So the ball moved up now to the 25-yard line. It's still the line to make is out at the 43. We have 11:20 left in this third quarter. Pitt 14-3. And it's a two tight end setup. Seaman and Moore in the lineup for the Panthers. It's Jermaine Williams, the only setback. He's the man they swing the pass to. Hit from behind. Knocked down at the 29-yard line is Derek Wiley, and I thought for a moment that Van Pelt might have lofted that just a little too much with the pursuit that was coming on quickly.
He has excellent touch. He knows exactly where it's at, and that's a tough pass to throw because they're running laterally, and it's a tough pass to catch. Jermaine did an outstanding job catching. Talking earlier about the rivalry, booster club people and your people who support your program. Don Nalen and I both had a guy named Ray Anthony who was one of my better boosters. He helped our program from Ray Anthony Crane and helped West Virginia's program. So you use them. People are on both sides of this fence.
On second down, Williams breaks it off one tackle, comes to the 35-yard line. Steve Grant there to make the stop.
Impressed with Pitt, what they've done on this situation. They now have themselves in a 3rd and 8 situation. Watch Steve Grant here, linebacker number 4. He doesn't know where to go because of the cutting ability of Jermaine Williams. He just sat in there and avoided the block by Jeff Christie, number 62, and made the tackle.
It is 3rd down, 3rd and 8. Pressure from the outside. Van Pelt rolls the pocket. It's Moore, his tight end, and he will have the first down plus a couple of yards. And there is the maturity of Moore catching the ball and already starting his move upfield, because where he was going to catch it might have been short. He made sure that he had the ball first and then picked up that extra yard.
Watch the linebackers here, West Virginia. They have a stun on inside. Here comes the cutting ability of the receivers. Look at him. It's basketball. Eric Seaman picked the linebacker, Derek Wiley. There's the reaction by David Moore catching the ball. Alex Van Pelt knows he had that crossing route. He knows he picked up the first down. Nice call.
Little rub play there.
Little basketball.
DeVoe, the lone setback this time, and on a little stutter step, counters, comes back. Again, you can see 25 Collins along with Steve Grant on the defensive play for the Mountaineers.
Veteran quarterback, 1st and 28. Remember that now. He was able to get him right back in a situation where they picked up the first down. That was good play calling by the Pitt staff.
8 minutes and 45 seconds now in this drive, and we'll check on it with our man Big E up here about the length that this drive has gone and from where it started. But this is just what the doctor ordered as far as Pitt is concerned. Distance and time. Van Pelt over the middle, has his tight end Seaman, and he makes the catch at the 30. And he got hit in the small to the back just as he made the reception, and he is shaken up. Good for 20 yards.
They caught West Virginia in a 2-deep coverage, and 2-deep coverage is weak down the middle. Now you got to get a hit on the tight end. I said earlier, let the tight end run straight down the field. He's breaking right in between the two safeties, and it's wide open. There's an area from 18 yards from the line of scrimmage to 25 yards that you got to get that ball to Eric Seaman, and Alex was able to do it.
Well, I said the small at the back, but you could see by that replay it was in fact his left shoulder where he got pounded. So let's take a timeout as they check over the injury. Pitt up by 11, just over 8 to play in the third.
Planning. Where'd I get the capital to start this business with my daughter? By investing for the long haul. And forget full commission brokers. I call Charles Schwab. Munis, mutual funds, blue chips, and I save plenty with Schwab's low commissions. Every day I tell my daughter, think long term. Make your own decisions. Be your own man.
We give you more ways to succeed.
Choices. Dad's conservative, and that's okay, but I'm after high return.
At Schwab, I can be aggressive. I just bought some high-growth mutual funds and an undervalued stock I know will take off, all by computer and at Schwab's low commissions.
Dad says, plan ahead, get there first. Maybe that's why my name's on the door first.
we give you more ways to succeed.
If it happens in baseball, you'll see it on ESPN.
There he goes. He leaves. He makes the catch.
See Tuesday night doubleheaders, Wednesday night excitement, Friday night twin bills, and exclusive Sunday night action. Tony Gwynn steps up to the plate, aiming for the National League batting title. Barry Bonds is chasing a second consecutive MVP award. Baseball's best. The Pirates face the Padres live on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball.
It was the night after a game. I wanted to celebrate. So I went out and had some beers. No big deal. I felt okay. I was driving slow. It was a breath test I had a problem with. Cops took me in. I lost my license. I'm off the team. Everybody's all over me. I wish I'd thought of this before.
In this drive, Paul Hackett's team has used up just over 4 minutes. In 1989, he was the offensive coordinator for Pitt, and he has this to say about Alex Van Pelt.
In Alex's development, I think that the West Virginia game was the turning point for him. I think that he was a young freshman quarterback who had done some good things in previous games, was beginning to get a feel for the offense. But he was put in his first real crunch time situation.
Well, probably the biggest thing you have watched this entire ball game tonight is the maturity of Alex Van Pelt and how he has handled himself. And as Mike pointed out just a moment ago, with a very long situation to bring the team back to pick up that first down. Jermaine Williams off the right side. It's Terrace Alexander who comes up to make the stop. Mike, you agree with that assessment of Alex?
Well, I think Alex has really come on. He just gets better and better, stronger. He's a stronger quarterback. He's smarter, and there's no substitute for experience. He's experienced right now, and that's the key in this ball game, what he's accomplished.
Williams strung out with the defense. It's a nice job defensively for the Mountaineers, and the tackle will be made just inside the 24. Mike Collins again leading the way. And now here's a big one coming up right here again with a third down, and Pitt needs just inside the 21-yard line.
This is a type of situation, play action pass, you're vulnerable for defensively. They need the first down. You could be thinking in terms of two down situation, but I would not be a bit surprised when this third and short yardage for a play action pass.
DeVoe, 12 carries, 43 yards. Let's see if they look to him. He's one of the split backs with Jermaine Williams. Pass incomplete, and I mean Jermaine Williams got hammered from behind as the pass was delivered, and that was Alexander. So it's fourth down, and from the far sideline, let's see, Scott Kaplan, it would appear, yes, is going to come on to attempt a field goal of in the vicinity of 40 yards. We'll see where they spot it down. The line of scrimmage just outside the 23.
They had another crossing route on that play, Ron. They just didn't hit it. They had good pressure from West Virginia.
From the near hash mark, an attempt of 40 yards. Kick is on the way. Is it long enough? And yes, he got it. So Scott Kaplan, the junior from Coral Springs, Florida, has that one up and through for 40 yards, and Pitt moves on top by 2 touchdowns, 17-3. So let's take a look at the coach's chalk talk and the first game concerns that you had in this one.
Well, you always have a concern as a coach, the unknown. As in other sports, basketball, if you're a college basketball coach, you get to play Russia or Crete or Mexico or someplace. And with football, you don't get that opportunity. Pros get the exhibition games, so you really don't know what you're up against, and you don't know the pace or how the referees are going to call holding and so forth. Second area, which could play a factor still in this game, is conditioning. not only the fourth quarter conditioning your team's in, but whether you left a game on the field in 2-a-days, you got your legs tired, you got your team tired, and they weren't able to make it to the first game. That's a real concern for coaches. And then, as we've talked about earlier, special teams. You never know till you get to the first game whether special teams are ready. And I still say the biggest play in this game was the kickoff return by Steve Israel, because it answered the 3 points that West Virginia got very quickly.
Boy, did it ever. Silvestri to kick it off. James Jett along with Mike Barker is back deep. And that one is going to go out of bounds.
He just missed that football when he went to kick it, Ron. He just hooked it. They're going to take it on the 35. This is a new rule also.
This one I like as far as speed of play and keeping things going. The ball out of bounds, and West Virginia elects to, rather than have them kick it over again, they get the ball at the 35-yard line. So our situation, 6:32 left in the third, and Pitt on top 17-3. Morrell and Woodard are the setbacks, and again, Chris Gray operates the quarterback. In case you missed it, Darren Studstill injured his collarbone in the second quarter. We will not see him again tonight. That's Garrett Ford carries the ball. We're checking Adrian Morrell, 42 rather than 32. Gilbert and Ricardo McDonald there on the stop, and to look at the numbers on Morrell tonight, now 75 yards and 16 carries.
Pitt has kept him from the big play. That's been their key defensively. West Virginia doesn't want to get antsy right now. They've got a lot of time. Let Morrell bring you back also, not just a pass.
I think to get this crowd back in the ballgame, though, and add that along with just some confidence, they need to get points on this drive here. Gray zips it incomplete, and he threw into double coverage. Shook was the man who was the intended receiver, and Ricardo McDonald almost took his head off just as the ball was delivered.
Ricardo McDonald, Patterson, New Jersey. They just keep bringing him from that weak side. He's just put pressure on the quarterback this entire night.
Gray now 4 of 7 for 43 yards.
You got a kind of a mismatch over there between a big tackle on the left side right now and Ricardo. Ricardo's winning that advantage right now with his quickness.
Quick out pass, and that one is thrown complete. Jett, or make it Michael Beasley, who catches the ball at the 44. He is a yard shy of the first down, and it'll be 3rd down and 1.
Here's Michael Beasley. He's a running back. Now, this is his first game as a receiver. I think he cuts his pattern just a little bit short. Has to come back for the ball. The ball was underthrown. In fairness to him, it was underthrown. What West Virginia can't do is allow themselves to get in 3rd down long situations.
For sure, the crowd is booing, and I apologize. I said 3rd down. It is indeed 4th down. And Don Nehlen is not going to take a chance, down 14 points, going for a 4th and a yard here. Vanderjack, driving kick, and this one all the way to the end zone over Israel's head. So let's take a break. 5 minutes left in the third period, and Pitt beginning to have their own way.
In Washington, new highway safety regulations are
We're in an era of fierce competition, spanning not just the nation.
These demanding times, BMW introduces the safest 3 Series ever built, with a near-zero maintenance engine and perfectly balanced handling. The dramatically new 325i. BMW meets the demands of the 90s with its spirit intact.
Flying coach was a bit of a drag, but I'm here.
Jane, I'd like you to meet Peter. Peter makes movies.
Features.
Hi. We were just talking about this movie that HBO made. It was so intense. Did you make that movie?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
you didn't make that.
I'm at home thinking they'll never show. And then they show.
Are you talking about that HBO movie? You're really gutsy, huh?
I didn't even know they made movies. Did you make that?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
You didn't?
I read that movie caused a lot of controversy. But you probably stay away from stuff like that, huh? Too risky, huh?
If it's a movie that's powerful, provocative, a movie that gets talked about, you can be sure that HBO will make it.
It was edgy.
Poignant.
No, I didn't make it.
Excuse me. I heard you make movies for HBO?
Yes. Yes, I do.
HBO original movies, only on HBO.
You know, people have been talking about my movies all night.
"100 years of football in Morgantown, West Virginia. And right now, the birthday party is not going the way Don Nehlen and his staff would like to see it happen. Pitt, again, I would have the feeling trying to play ball control. It has worked nicely for them in this one. Van Pelt swings it out of the backfield. DeVoe is going to be pushed out of bounds finally. It's Terrace Alexander, one of the first men, along with Steve Grant.
Pitt has changed their philosophy a little bit here in the second half, throwing more on first down. They've been successful doing it right now. They put themselves in a 2nd and 3 situation. West Virginia is a big zone team, which means that if you hook people in the linebackers and hold them, you're always going to have that flare, and then West Virginia has to come up and make the tackle, but DeVoe's making a miss a little bit right now.
Jermaine Williams is the lone setback. Good cutback, and he's going to have the first down out to the 32. Steve Grant comes over to make the stop. And again, Mike, it's nothing that's just spectacular or really beautiful stuff, but it is very efficient stuff.
Well, it's the unknown again. You've got both teams coming off losing years. West Virginia off of 4-7, Pitt off of 3-7-1. You're really not sure of your team. In West Virginia tonight, you can tell they're still suffering a little bit from last year. They don't have the confidence, and they've got to make something happen on defense.
DeVoe 12 for 43 and Williams 9 for 38, and they have scored 1 touchdown rushing as Dave Moore takes it out over the 40 to the 41-yard line. Terrace Alexander, boy, I know that's been the open side of the field, but they really have worked. They have been a very right-handed football team, particularly in the second half.
They have, and to elaborate on what I said, the difference in this ball game tonight, again, 2 teams coming off losing years, is the quarterback position. Alex Van Pelt has brought that leadership and confidence into this team, and he's been so effective tonight that he's kept his team on a little bit more of the charge than West Virginia.
West Virginia right now needs to make something, have something good happen for themselves. Jermaine Williams stays on his feet across the 45 to the 46. Mike Collins from his strong safety position. There to make the tackle, but again, Pitt moves the chains, and they're just keeping it very, very simple. And right now, West Virginia has not been able to do anything to impede that progress.
Well, they're throwing on first down, Ron, picking up 6-7, and now you got a field day when you get in a 2nd and 3 and 4 situation all the time, and see if they continue that on first down, taking a little flat pass and just trying to get enough yardage to put yourself in 2nd and 3rd down, good 2nd and 3rd down situations.
Jermaine Williams again breaks through a tackle, then another, and is down to the 45-yard line. Steve Grant tripped him up, but that is a gain of 9 yards.
We have to be impressed with Jermaine Williams tonight. Here's the outside play. Watch Steve Grant working up, and again coming against Scott Miller, the offensive tackle. He avoids the block, gets kicked a little bit. Good block by Scott Miller, and again Jermaine Williams with a good cut off of that block. Well, you can't beat this if you're an offensive coach. 2nd and 2, 2nd and 3. If your defensive coach drives you crazy.
An offense that gives you a world of latitude. Van Pelt with the play action. Drills it deep over the middle, has it complete to Askew, and he will score. Chad Askew, the freshman from Aliquippa, 45 yards on a perfectly thrown pass by Alex Van Pelt. And all of a sudden, the Panthers making this one a rout. And we still have 2:24 in the 3rd.
This is what a lot of coaches call the bend-in route.
Kaplan to attempt the extra point. He's got it. So let's look at it one more time at a spin-in route that you're talking about, Mike.
First of all, you got to credit Alex Van Pelt with a good fake, play-action fake on first down. They held the linebackers. You see the tight end clear out. Now here comes Chad Askew. Makes the play. The free safety just missed the tackle. Touchdown.
And Alex Van Pelt, the junior who was born and raised up here in West Virginia, but played his high school football down at San Antonio Churchill High School, with that reaction, and understandably why. So it makes it 24-3 Pitt. And what a surprise, as West Virginia playing at home was the favorite in this one. And by the way, Pittsburgh's Barry Bonds has been putting up some productive numbers all season and is going for his second consecutive MVP title. The Pirates take on the first place records to sunny San Diego. And that is coming up live Eastern time at tomorrow. The Pirates and the Padres. Bonds, 21 home runs and 94 RBIs. Now that West Virginia bench, and a few heads tucked away already. Jet. He'll take it back to close to the 30-yard line. Radinick on the special teams for Pitt. Next Saturday night, Mike and I will be in Boulder, Colorado for a meeting between a couple of the mountain teams. West Virginia almost said Wyoming against the Colorado Buffaloes. And of course, Thursday night, got an interesting ball game to see. Louisville, a club that is on the move, but Schellenberger trying to bring them to national prominence on a year-to-year basis. They were very good last year, taking on Tennessee. Pass in the flat is complete. That's to Shook. And let's go to Adrian Karsten down on the sideline.
Well, Ron, one of the misconceptions about college football is that when you come into the field, you've got to use the home team balls. This is West Virginia's Wilson 101, the one they play with. This is the Baden ball, the one Alex Van Pelt likes to throw with because of this, a synthetic bladder that they blow up the ball with, and the laces. He says he's got a smaller hand. He likes the balance. I would say it's working pretty well so far.
I think so, and he said very simply yesterday that he said just because my hand is smaller, that's the reason I like that one. Flag comes down in the backfield as the carry is by Garrett Ford. Williams and McDonald come over to make the stop. And West Virginia is walking back.
Dead ball foul. Movement before the snap on the offense.
So prior to the snap, there was movement by the Mountaineers, and they will have to come back, and instead of picking up about 6 yards on the play, they're going to come back and lose 5. Here are the numbers on Van Pelt: 12 of 18, 152 yards and 2 touchdowns.
If you're on the road in a stadium like this, you want a veteran place kicker and a veteran quarterback.
They set up the screen, and that one is intercepted by Gilbert, and he is going to score the touchdown. Sean Gilbert. Gilbert, who is 6'6", 300 pounds, a junior from Aliquippa, takes it 25 yards for the touchdown as he makes the interception. So 2 youngsters from Aliquippa score on back-to-back possessions. Askew a moment ago, and now Gilbert, but with the defensive interference as he intercepted the screen pass. Kaplan knocks it through. So let's take another look at it.
West Virginia set up a middle screen. Here's Chris Gray going back to pass. Look at Jeter coming in for the screen, but Sean Gilbert sitting right there. Now look at how well he runs. For as big as he is, 300 pounds, look at him. He was a forward in basketball and ran that court just like that. It's a happy moment for Sean Gilbert.
I would love to know if he has a name for his dance in the end zone. Well, coming up next Saturday, game day, we'll kick it off with Chris Fowler and Lee Corso at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time, then followed by the first of a doubleheader. Hawaii at Iowa, 12:30 Eastern Time. And then, as I mentioned, on Saturday evening, our primetime game will be Wyoming and Colorado, 7:30 Eastern Time. All next week, right here on ESPN.
Ron, if you're Don Nalen, you might think in terms of Ed Fletcher right now, the junior college quarterback he brought in. Watched him in practice this week. He's a pretty good quarterback.
First interception that Gilbert has ever had in his career. And also is his first touchdown. It's a short kickoff. Across the 35 and now out to the 40-yard line. So the Mountaineers will take it over with good field position. And as we look to the bench, he's going to go with Gray. And the only thing I can surmise right here is Don also does not want to destroy the confidence of Gray, who has not had an opportunity to have a lot of playing time.
No, I think Chris Gray is a good quarterback. I think he's in a situation right now. It's the first game. You might as well use it as a practice situation behind 31-3. I think he's going to stay with Chris Gray in here and try to get his confidence back up, which he well may do.
Garrett Ford tries to get to the outside, posted by McDonald, and then gets some good help from the interior, and he gets knocked off. Tumulty, again, showing very good lateral movement, getting to the outside and making the tackle.
The big front of Pittsburgh has helped them and has funneled everything to the linebackers, and the linebackers were the question mark. Tom Tumulty's answered that question tonight. He can play, and he can play in this league.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% there. This could be the last play of the quarter, as we have 36, now 35 seconds left in the third. Gray dumps it over the middle. That's complete into the 47. Garrett Ford on the receiving end of that one. And again to Multi, number 84, making the stop. So at the end of the first half, things, as far as West Virginia were concerned, were not totally out of hand, but they were down at the intermission marker, 14-3. But it has been thunder and then lightning in the third quarter, as 17 unanswered points have been scored by Pitt, and that's how we stand right now as we head to the fourth quarter. It is Pitt 31 and West Virginia 3, as the reaction by Ben Pelt at the touchdown, which he threw to Askew. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
In Washington, new highway safety regulations are
We're in an era of fierce competition, spanning not just the nation.
For these demanding times, BMW introduces the safest 3 Series ever built, with a near-zero maintenance engine and perfectly balanced handling. The dramatically new 325i. BMW meets the demands of the 90s with its spirit intact.
Every business morning, while the rest of the world is getting up, UPS is guaranteeing overnight delivery before 10:30 for far less than other companies charge. And every business morning, more people are waking up to that fact.
Good morning. Let's take off our sneakers and get comfortable.
Uh-oh, sneaker odor.
Let's go to the movies.
Tame ferocious sneaker odor with Sneaker Tamers from Odor Eaters. Springy insoles with activated charcoal, the world's most powerful odor destroyer. Sneaker Tamers has it. This Scholl's doesn't. Sneaker Tamers absorb sweat, destroy sneaker odor, guaranteed for the life of your sneakers.
No more sneaker odor.
Sneaker Tamers from Odor Eaters.
Konica knows to keep a business running smoothly, you need teamwork, timing, and communication. You can't afford to miss a beat.
I'm missing page 2.
Your systems,
No problem.
need to be efficient as well as simple, fast, and affordable.
Hello? We've lost some music.
Like Konica fax machines. They deliver on the spot to keep your business performing. When overnight just won't do, Konica Facsimile saves the day.
Well, we got 15 minutes left in this one, and who would have thought it? Certainly not the people here in the great state of West Virginia, because their ball club was favored in this one tonight. It was the beginning of the 100-year celebration in college football for the Mountaineers, and they trail 31-3 as we open this fourth and final quarter. Gray scrambling for his life, and that one throws incomplete. Let's go to Tim Brando and get an update on more of college football today. Tim.
All right, Ron, take a look at David Klingler. One step on the Heisman, day one of college football. Look at him elude the rush from Louisiana Tech and throw one of his 6 second-quarter touchdown passes, this one to Freddie Gilbert. Klingler's touchdown passes were short ones, too. Klingler scrambles to his right. Will find Tracy Good. There you see it, 73-3 the final.
So West Virginia with the punt, and there's a flag down at the line of scrimmage as that one goes dead to just inside the 20-yard line. Klingler with a huge day. Somehow that is not surprising against Louisiana Tech. But the one I'm anxious to see is 1 week from next Thursday. That is Miami and Houston.
I'll be down there for that one. That'll be a great ball game.
Yep. That's Miami winning today 31-3. Houston 73-3.
Illegal procedure, illegal formation at the snap on the kicking team. Penalties decline.
A little bit of a shocker. Hawaii winning over Wyoming. Ole Miss wins today. Billy Brewer and the Rebels off to a good start.
You got to, if you're coaching West Virginia right now, you got to keep those guys up because it's a long season.
Yeah, it's very important because you talked about earlier on in this ballgame about how devastating it could be for the loser in this ballgame. And of course, we were thinking in terms of this game being close. But not only if you lose this game, but if you lose by an overwhelming margin. And right now, West Virginia down by 4 touchdowns. What it could do to you for the next 10 games.
Well, the positive about this is you know where you're at. Now you know what mistakes you made. You know what changes you got to make. And you still got 10 games to turn your season around. You just can't let your players and fans dwell on this game. You got to get them off of it right away. And that's going to be the toughest job Don Nehlen has.
Van Pelt zings it into flat and tipped and almost intercepted. That is a nice defensive play out there by Tom Orr. He's a sophomore out of Elizabeth, New Jersey. I'll tell you the next toughest thing that Don has to do, and this is something that head coaches just, it goes with the territory. But he also has to explain on that post-game show about why Studstill made such a difference, because he doesn't want to put it all on Gray's shoulders. Not Gray's fault that he has not had that much playing experience. He's been out because of injuries, missed almost 2 years. Once the finger kept him out, and then the shoulder injury. But Studstill is the fire that makes this offense go. Little counter action up the middle. Jermaine Williams on all fours, and he takes it to the 35-yard line. And right now, let's take a look at the Army's storyline in this one so far. And I think it should be self-explanatory as to what has happened. Studstill out, injured collarbone. Couldn't play in the second half. Look at West Virginia. 8 drives, 1 field goal. And in fact, one of those drives, he had 16 plays, I believe, and only came away with a field goal. Van Pelt, 12 of 19, 152 yards, and a couple of TDs. Jermaine Williams again off the blocking to the left side of Christie and Gorajewski. And they will take it for 4, maybe 5 yards. Scott Gaskins off that right defensive side. The junior from Dayton, Ohio, comes up to make the tackle.
Jermaine Williams is out of Chadsey High School in Detroit. There you see Darren Studstill. He's a sad young man today. But he'll bounce back.
The orthopedic said at halftime that the collarbone was not broken, but that it was far too painful for him to play in the second half. And of course, the first thing that Don Nehlen will ask when he gets to the locker room is, how long are we talking about? That run will go across the 42.
tackle was made by James Wright. That's my guy, Puppy. He used to come to my camp. He used to ride a bus 24 hours from Miami to Pittsburgh. His mom, Sarah, and he used to collect cans. They'd go to a recycling place, get the money, put it for the bus ticket, and pay for the camp. Puppy Wright, number 40. I'm proud of him. He's come a long way.
I met him on Thursday. Very nice young man.
And not just 24 hours. He's come a long way.
Williams breaks it big inside the 50, now inside the 45, and he's at the 44-yard line as Tim Newsom has replaced Darrell Whitmore at that free safety position. And a marker back at the line of scrimmage, and this run will come back. Looks like on the third down play that Pitt had picked it up. See Steve Grant motioning to the sideline. But you bet they want to take this penalty rather than allowing the first down.
Holding.
And it's going to be holding against Pitt.
Replay third down.
Now it's going to be an interesting college season. As I mentioned, next Saturday, Mike, we're in Boulder. The following Saturday, we'll be down in Gainesville, Florida, for a meeting between Alabama and Florida. I think that one doesn't need a lot of description as far as what to expect. Then the next week we go to Austin, Texas for Auburn against Texas. I think that one will be a fine affair. Glenn DeVoe, the lone setback. DeVoe caught from behind as he goes across the 36 to the 37. Again, it's Gaskins. And if you wonder, of all the roars that you heard in the first half, why it is so quiet right now, and I'll tell you, Horace Greeley may have said, "Go west, young man," but someone here in the midway of the third period during those 17 points said, "Go home, young man," and they have in Morgantown. They have headed to the exits as their ball club is down 31-3. Leon to punt. That's Jet back in a deep safety for West Virginia. Jet from the 22. Fumbles the ball, and at the 33-yard line, the beanbags go down. And Barnt, I believe, is the man who made the recovery for Pittsburgh. Yep, he is down at the bottom of that stack. Tom Barnt makes the recovery. So Pitt will get the football back, and let's look at it one more time.
When it goes bad, it goes bad. Here's James Jett just trying to make something happen. He just didn't have a hold of the ball. They just pulled it too easy on that play.
So let's take a break. 10:52 left to play. Pitt by 4 touchdowns.
The way to not win in tennis is to think too much about your opponent. Because in tennis, you don't just play the opponent. You've got to play the ball. It's how you play the ball that determines whether your shot is in or out. Whether the point is won or lost. Play the ball better than your opponent, and you'll play winning tennis. Now, you can play the ball and win with this double offer from Tennis Magazine. You'll receive a free half-hour video by Tennis Magazine instruction editor Vic Braden, plus a full year, 12 issues of Tennis Magazine. Call this number now and change the way you play tennis. What a combination. The How to Play Winning Tennis with Vic Braden video, plus the magazine that brings more instruction to more tennis players than any other.
Call 800-521-2170 for a full year of Tennis Magazine plus the free video. Just $13.77. Call 800-521-2170 now.
Let's go, boys. Game time.
The dynamic duo of Andy Kelly and Carl Pickens leads Tennessee against All-American Ray Buchanan and the Louisville Cardinals.
It's a jungle out there. It's
live on ESPN. Jack Nicklaus, Ian Baker Finch, Greg Norman. Just some of the champions Wayne Levy must beat to defend his Canadian Open title. Complete coverage begins Thursday afternoon at 3:30 Eastern, live on ESPN.
ESPN's college football, Pitt versus West Virginia, is brought to you by Thrifty Car Rental. Because it's your money. Call 1-800-for-CARS or your travel consultant. Ron Franklin, Mike Gottfried, and Adrian Karsten welcoming you back to Morgantown, West Virginia. Here's a number that says a lot. Studstill, 5 of 9, 1 interception, 44 yards. West Virginia total yards with Studstill in the ballgame, 124, and without him, only 75 yards. And Pelt swings it out, and Jermaine Williams can't hold on to that one.
West Virginia, Ron, got a jump on recruiting. Jake Kelchner, outstanding quarterback out of Berwick, Pennsylvania, played for George Curry, outstanding high school coach. Went to Notre Dame and transferred here this week. So he was probably among the best quarterbacks I ever saw in recruiting. And so they have him sitting out this year. So they have a built-in advantage on recruiting already. They have a great quarterback here.
Right now, yeah, they need him right now. NCAA rules preclude that. Running play to the right side goes for very short yardage. Jermaine Williams carrying it. Steve Grant. Steve's had a very good game tonight, and again, we mentioned early on in the telecast that he was voted the MVP of this West Virginia club just last year, and you can see why with the kind of heart he has and ability. Defensively, he's been very strong.
Another key in this game is Pitt was able to establish a running game. You have to credit the offensive line of Pitt. They've done a nice job opening up holes, good pass protection, and controlled this game.
Third down, and it's about 9.5 yards. The line to make is the 24. This is DeVoe. Tries to slide it to the outside. Hit first by Wes Richardson, number 41. Then gets some help with the inside. And that is going to be short of the first down. Now fourth. And the special teams coming on. It looks like Kaplan will go for the long field goal here. Field goal attempt of about 47, 48 yards. We'll see where they spot it down. He's 1 of 2 tonight. Made one from 40 and then missed his other attempt. Repko is the holder. He's done a very good job tonight, particularly on the last one. This kick, plenty of distance, and he's good. So that is a career long for him at 47 yards. And as he knocks it through, we're going to take a timeout. 9:14 left to play in the ball game, and let's take one more look at his career long. Pitt leads 34-3.
Audi lets you take control with permanent all-wheel quattro drive. A system so sophisticated it can send power from wheel to wheel depending on road conditions. So unique, it constantly monitors the road and transfers power from the wheels that slip to those that grip. All-wheel quattro drive. One more way Audi lets you take control.
Substantial factory-to-dealer incentives available now on select models.
If you could reach into your TV, take the picture, and put it anywhere you want, you would discover the miracle of liquid crystal entertainment. The miracle of Sharp Vision. Sharp Vision's flat picture can be any size to fit any wall in any size room. Enjoy the crystal clear picture from any angle, and Sharp Vision disappears when not in use. Liquid Crystal Sharp Vision. Big screen entertainment designed for your home.
This is Milan Henelička, goaltender for the Czechoslovakian Olympic hockey team. He's taken hundreds of stitches, suffered 8 fractures, and has even been knocked unconscious. Yet he once went 11 consecutive periods without being scored on. But if you think it's tough to get something by him, wait till you see the guys at the ticket window if you don't have your Visa card. Because once again, the Olympics don't take American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
Auburn committed 3 early turnovers. We're down 17-0 to the Golden Eagles of Georgia Southern. But the folks from beautiful Eagle Creek go down 32-17 as Auburn comes from behind to win. Chris Fowler and Lee Corso at the conclusion of tonight's game will have all 9 of David Klingler's touchdown passes on the College Football Scoreboard Show. Back to Ron and Mike.
Oh, undoubtedly, their time has been expanded, huh? 9:14 left to play in this one. Pitt by 31 points. Baker and Garrett Ford are the 2 deep men. This is Silvestri again, who will handle the kickoff, the left footer. Garrett Ford from inside the 5. Breaks it out on the right at the 35, at the 40. And at midfield is going to be knocked out of bounds just across the midfield stripe. That's Israel, who is there to make the stop, but he had 46 yards on the return. Well, this week ESPN begins its exclusive coverage of Thursday night college football. Tennessee will take on Louisville. Both teams finished last season toward the top of the national rankings, and they hope to jump out strong again. Mike Patrick and Mike Gottfried will be there 8 o'clock on Thursday for the first of 7 exclusive Thursday telecasts.
Pointing my car right after this game, Ron. Headed for a great city, Louisville.
It is. You can bet Howard Schnellenberger will make it interesting, and so will Johnny Majors. Garrett Ford, nice run up the right side. Check it, John Jones. It's the first time we've seen him tonight. 33 rather than 32. John, a junior from Charleston, West Virginia. And in fact, of all the spots on this West Virginia ball club where they have a lot of depth, it is at the tailback spot, because Beasley was switched to flanker because they already had 3 established tailbacks with Morrell, with Garrett Ford, and now with John Jones. Gray with the inside handoff. They're going to pick up the first down. Costin, the ball carrier. Doug Costin. He's 6'1", 220, a junior out of Glen Mills, Pennsylvania. Another area that a lot of kids come out of, Glen Mills.
Hurry up offense now for West Virginia, just trying to get some plays in. Again, if you're Don Naylor and his offensive staff, Mike Jacobs, just want to see what some young guys can do. Same thing with Bob Shaw and Steve Dunlap on defense. Just find out what some guys can do, because you still have a season. You still have 10 games. That's the tough thing about playing a rivalry game, the first game when you lose it.
This is John Jones. Turns the corner, has 5, counted off close to 10 on that run right there, and a very good second effort as Szymanski gets outside to make the stop. Let's take a look at the schedule for Pitt. Southern Mississippi on the 7th, then Temple, then they get a week off, then they go to Minnesota, then Maryland, and at Notre Dame. And Syracuse, couple on the road, East Carolina, Boston College, then they come home to play Rutgers and Penn State. And I can tell you, Penn State, regardless of how tough their schedule, is not going to be a picnic for anybody this year. I mean, Joe has got some really good numbers together. Second down and short, and they go with the draw play. John Jones again. And he will have the first down as he'll take it in the vicinity of the 20-yard line. Sean Gilbert defensively. Let's take a look at what Don Neyland has to contend with 10 more games to play. Bowling Green, South Carolina, then goes on the road at Maryland, then comes back home for 2 more. So at least this is in his favor as far as quarterback situation. But boy, look at the last part of the season, Mike. 4 of the last 5 on the road. BC, Penn State, home Rutgers, then at Miami, at Syracuse. Need I say more? But that seems like the year 2000 to him right now. John Jones tries to turn the corner, and a good job defensively by Keith Hamilton to put the stop on him. As we go under 7.5 to play in this ball game.
Pitt has the best schedule. They really have a chance to get off, and as we talked about, the negative part of losing this rivalry game, there's a great positive when you win this game. Your confidence level just rises, and I expect them to play well early. They've got a schedule conducive for that right now.
See the pressure coming up the middle, and just as the handoff was made, Charlie Williams almost got there before the ball was handed off to Doug Costin.
You know, it's interesting. The Pitt first-team defense is in with 6 minutes and 42 seconds to go, and I think the reason for that is they don't want to give up a touchdown. They want to try to build some pride. Here you see that Charles Williams on a blitz up inside, and they just never picked it up the offensive line. He met the running back before he got the ball.
See Costin turning around and telling either a snap count of the play to John Jones. Gray over the middle, has it complete. That's Costin. Check it, it's Alex Shook, 43 rather than 34. Shook, the tight end. And Shook has made some very good catches tonight in traffic.
I think Perkins got there before the ball did, and Alex Shook was still able to hang on. It was a nice throw, and Alex Shook's had a pretty good ball game tonight.
Yes,
he's played hard, he's blocked well, and he's caught the football in key situations.
Caught it in key situations, and as I mentioned, also with a lot of opposing jerseys around him. Costin breaks one tackle, takes it down around the 2-yard line as we go under 6 minutes to play.
This is a tough thing if you keep your first team defense and you don't want them to score, and they do score. You're still trying to build that pride factor up with keeping them out of the end zone.
That's Keith Grayley that Don is talking to on the sideline. So timeout, West Virginia. It's taken with them. 5:55 left in the ball game. 34-3 Pitt.
This is the Goodies Extra Strength formula that you made the best-selling headache powder in the Southeast. The same reliable brand that's been relieving the pain and discomfort of headaches, arthritis, muscular aches and colds for more than 50 years. And the very same extra strength formula that Goodies has now made into a tablet. Goodies Extra Strength tablets and powders. Now, isn't that a relief?
Win a trip for 2 to the Thrifty Car Rental Holiday Bowl, including 5 days in sunny San Diego. You'll see a great game, visit SeaWorld, and drive away in a 1992 Chrysler LeBaron convertible. To enter, stop by any Thrifty Car Rental location or fill out the official entry form in select Monday editions of USA Today. Or simply print your name and address on a 3x5 card and mail to this address. Round-trip air transportation provided by U.S. Air.
Jack, you look great. New clubs, new shoes, new ball.
Well, it's the new me, Bill.
New golf game, too?
We'll see.
It's showtime.
Showtime.
Hey! Whoa!
Maybe a 2-iron, Bill?
Yeah, a 2-iron. I just don't get it.
Well, it's showtime, Bill. And it's not the shoes, it's not the clubs, it's not the ball. It's this latest video from Golf Digest. How to get distance and accuracy.
A video?
Yeah, anyone can get it. And it's free when you subscribe to Golf Digest.
Huh.
Outdrive your partner with this half-hour instructional video. Free with a 1-year subscription to Golf Digest. Just $19.77. Call 800-367-5800. Imagine the video and Golf Digest. Call 800-367-5800.
Coming up 1 week from tonight in the beautiful Rockies, Wyoming at Colorado. That's 7 o'clock Eastern time. We'll get a chance to look at Colorado. Can they dance with the elite again this year? Last year's co-defending champions.
Believe me, I saw them practice. They can dance with them.
Bill McCartney and his staff did an excellent job. Woodard and Jones into backfield, hit at the 1-yard line. And that's Charlie Williams who steps up into the hole to make the pop, and they're not going to get it into the end zone. John Jones, who was 6'3", 220 pounds, pounded it in there pretty good, and he got sent backwards.
Well, you don't realize how much work goes into an opening game. Those 2-a-day practices, all those meeting times, and Don Nalen, he's frustrated because he knows how hard his players have worked and how hard he's worked. But now as coaching, he's got to get them back again.
Gray rolling, and he is going to be hit. This is the second time in the game that Ricardo McDonald has sacked the West Virginia quarterback for a big loss when the ball was down close to the goal line.
People who play Pitt are going to have to block Ricardo McDonald all year because tackles are singling on Sean Gilbert, Keith Hamilton. That means a back has to block Ricardo, or you got to pull a guard out to block him. And I tell you, he is so quick and strong that he makes it very difficult for defenses.
4 sacks tonight by Pitt, 2 of those by McDonald. Again, Jones and Costa to the setbacks. New line of scrimmage, the 11. Costa with the handoff. Crowd on 4th down did not agree with what was called from the bench as they tried to cross him up with a little running play. Esters was right there, and you could see also the linebackers in the middle very tight at the line of scrimmage. And with that, Pitt will throw it what probably is going to be the final West Virginia drive of the night. And offensively, Don is going to toss and turn tonight. But he lost his #1 quarterback. I don't want to take anything away from Gray, but the rhythms were taken away. We'll talk more about it in just a moment. Let's take a timeout.
Way to not win in tennis is to think too much about your opponent. Because in tennis, you don't just play the opponent. You've got to play the ball. It's how you play the ball that determines whether your shot is in or out. Whether the point is won or lost. Play the ball better than your opponent, and you'll play winning tennis. Now, you can play the ball and win with this double offer from Tennis Magazine. You'll receive a free half-hour video by Tennis Magazine instruction editor Vic Braden, plus a full year, 12 issues of Tennis Magazine. Call this number now and change the way you play tennis. What a combination. The How to Play Winning Tennis with Vic Braden video, plus the magazine that brings more instruction to more tennis players than any other.
Call 800-521-2170 for a full year of Tennis Magazine plus the free video. Just $13.77. Call 800-521-2170 now.
If it happens in baseball, you'll see it on ESPN.
There he goes. He leaps. He makes the catch.
See Tuesday night doubleheaders, Wednesday night excitement, Friday night twin bills, and exclusive Sunday night action. The power and speed of Barry Bonds is keeping the Pirates on top. Will Clark is determined to keep the Giants in the race. The Pirates and the Giants live Monday afternoon at 4:30 Eastern. Part of an ESPN Labor Day triple header.
4:26 left to play in the ball game. Don't have to tell you the score as far as who is leading by looking at that picture right there. And Mike, do you spend extra time when you go into that locker room as you look at a new quarterback, Ken Ferguson? He's a freshman from Arlington, Texas, taking over for Van Pelt. You spend extra time in that locker room after a game like this is over. You open the season, and you go from the maximum as far as a high to a maximum as far as a low.
Don Nehlen's most important speech to that team will be after the game. The most important speech he gives all year, because he's got to pick them back up. They're down, they're depressed. He's got to give them hope, and that's the job of the head coach right now.
See, I don't want to take anything away from Pitt, because Pitt has demonstrated tonight that they took advantage. They played opportunistic football, but I don't think there's any way that there's 31 points difference in these ball clubs. In fact, I think West Virginia could be a very good club, but they really got stunned when Studstill went out of the ball game. And let's go down to the sideline. Adrian Karsten with a report. Adrian?
Ron, thank you very much. Well, 6'10", 335-pound John Ray just told me that he thought his ball club, both offensively and defensively, was a whole lot further along than they are, special teams included. Well, Coach Gottfried, you know that one of the worst things that can happen, you can go through 2-3 weeks of two-a-days and then run into offenses and defenses that you haven't seen for that time, where you're ill-prepared. Another complaint from John Ray.
Adrian, first of all, your tie's blinding me up here. But sometimes you have to look at the positives. You can start complaining or see something not happening right, but this can still be a good football team. You got to remember, they're coming off a 4-7, Ron, exactly. So it's going to take time to get back to where they want to do. You made a point. Give Pitt credit. Pitt came in here well playing. Well, they had a great plan. They did a great job. They executed. Alex Van Pelt had a great year. Jermaine Williams answered the call at tailback. The offensive line was good. Defense didn't give the big play. Kicking game was solid. Steve Israel broke the game open with that kickoff return.
Yeah, that was the near home run that did it. Curtis Martin in the ball game right now. And here's another one that is only a freshman that Pitt is excited about. He gained only 1 year of football. He played in high school. He's number 29. He's a tailback. 6 feet, 180 pounds. There he gets the ball right there. But he gained like just over 1,700 yards in that 1 year of football that he played. He had 20 touchdowns.
Pitt's got to get that quarterback a different number. 28. Who's the last number 28 that you? John Hadel was 21.
That's right.
They went up 7 digits to 28.
Ken Ferguson, 6'3", 195 pounds. Venturing up from the Lone Star State. We mentioned Arlington, and of course that's just outside of Dallas. Some very good 5A football there.
I know you're a great football fan. What was Otto Graham's number?
Well, Why would you do this to me
well,
now?
Well, I'm doing that to you. I think it was 60, but I'm not sure. I'll have to call Vince Costello, the old Browns linebacker, and find that answer.
Markle is the ball carrier.
Peace to the fellas in Quip. We for real, baby. We got the young
77 and 14. That's what we're going to go with. 77 first, and then he went to 14. Otto Graham.
I think he went to 14, but I'm going to say 60. So we'll find out the answer by next Saturday night.
And Marion Motley had a number that was not a running back's number as well. Out over the 40 to the 45-yard line. That's Curtis Martin and Timmy Newsom from that free safety position. That's a gain of 17 yards in the play. You see a good burst from Curtis Martin.
Get a chance to play your young players on offense, right? Curtis Martin showing a lot.
.70 seconds left in this one, as Pitt is not only going to win, they're going to carry home a very big victory in this one. Handoff into the middle of the line. Ball is fumbled, and it looks like West Virginia, yes, has made the recovery at the 47-yard line of Pitt. Markle was the ball carrier, and he gave it up. So the turnover. Today's Visa players of the game are from Pittsburgh, Alex Van Pelt, 12 of 20, 152 yards and 2 touchdowns. And from West Virginia, linebacker Steve Grant, 11 tackles, 8 of those solo. And as part of their continuing effort to further the development of amateur athletics, Visa is proud to donate $1,000 to the U.S. Olympic team on behalf of these athletes.
There we go, baby! There we go!
58 seconds left to play in this one. John Kappa has the football inside the 40, and it's down to around the 38. Hayes Clark, who's a freshman from Philadelphia, reserve inside linebacker, gives Charles Williams a breather, and he's the man who comes over to make the stop.
Ron, also want to mention a line judge tonight, Pat Ratesic, out of McKeesport, Pennsylvania. There you see him. He broke his leg in our Penn State game a couple years ago, and Freddie Fu, the team doctor at Pittsburgh, operating on him, and I'm really happy he's back officiating. He's a great official.
Coming back off what could have been an extremely serious injury. Don't forget, coming up here on ESPN, the CFA scoreboard, Klingler with 9 touchdowns today. Miami and Arkansas highlights, Notre Dame with a couple of players that found themselves in some problems last night. And also, we understand there will be a live interview with David Klingler. Timeout called with 12 seconds left on the clock. And Chris Gray comes over to the sideline.
If you're a West Virginia fan right now, the one positive is there may not be a traffic jam.
Oh, there you can see the maze of traffic outside Mountaineer Field. Very close to a record crowd tonight as they packed it for this, the beginning of the 100th anniversary of football here.
Ron, of all the places I've taken teams, I said Florida State's the toughest place. This may be in the top 5, but I'll tell you what I've always found here. Classy fans with great pride in their university, great pride in their state, and this team will be back. You'll hear from this team before the year's over, and their fans will stay with them.
Here are the numbers on Gray: 10 of 15, 1 interception, 92 yards for him. Zips it in the flat, has it complete, and it's John Kappa knocked down inbounds, and that should be the last play of the game. Down to 2, down to 1, and this one is history as Pitt has won, and won decisively over West Virginia. Once again, the final score, it is Pittsburgh. No, let us hold it for a second. We have a flag on the play, and they are going to say that there is 1 second left. Fans being told to get back in the stands and off the field. Some of the well-wishers from Pitt about to come out and congratulate their football team. 1 second left on the clock. Looked as though Kappa had stayed inbounds, but they say that there was enough to stop it. He zips it over the middle, has that one complete to Hill. And Eddie Hill will take it to the 16-yard line, and that is going to do it as Pitt comes jubilantly onto the playing field. The band from the south end, and Don Nealon trots across to shake hands as once again the final score, Pitt 34, West Virginia 3. Stay tuned for the Residence Inn College Football Scoreboard next. Now for Mike Gottfried and Adrian Karsten, Ron Franklin saying good night from West Virginia.
Coming up next on Baseball Tonight, a day for anger around Major League Baseball. The Jays' interim boss argues like a pro. The Tigers and A's in a marathon enough to test the nerves of any cat. Some tried to take it out on the pitchers, while the Reds take aim at the umpire. Mike bored it with a grab that gets them dancing in Oakland. We'll tell you who took a pounding, all next on Baseball Tonight.
Missed the final 5 games. The Eagles, of course, were in the playoffs last year before being bumped out by the Washington Redskins in round 1. Roger Ruzick will tee it up as the Packers have won the toss and elected to receive. Back deep, Vince Workman, Vi Sikahema, and Charles Wilson. It's about 68 degrees, picture perfect. And all the warm weather that they've had in Green Bay for the past week or so went out with a cold front yesterday, and it is perfect to start the season. And Ruzick wants that football on the tee perfectly before we get underway.
You see all these Packer fans in their shirt sleeves, but you've got to know that those Parkers are in the trunk.
They're close at hand. The Packers beginning their 71st season. They've only missed one of the 72 in the NFL. Just about ready to get underway for 91. If Ruzick can finally get that football to stay up there for him.
Well, John Madden talked about bunting. Maybe that's a bunt in football there where it falls off the tee.
The Eagles went 4-1 in the preseason and won 4 straight. Their magnificent quarterback, Randall Cunningham, was near perfect. The Green Bay Packers, 2-2 preseason. They're excited about the return of their quarterback, Don Majkowski, who we will see in a moment. We're all set, folks. The 91 NFL season is underway. Workman has trouble with it at the 5. Recovers and got out near the 14-yard line, and that is where the Packers will go to work. Don Majkowski, the Magic Man, who has captured the hearts of the fans in this part of the country. Last year, having been injured against Phoenix, but now back and at full strength. Let's take a look at the Green Bay Packer front wall. Rutgers, Moran, Campen, Hallstrom, Tony Mandrich, Ed West is the tight end. And here's who Majkowski has to work with. Woodside and Thompson in the backfield. Perry Kemp, Sterling Sharp, his wide receivers. The Packers actually will start with 2 tight ends right now because they work inside their own 15. So Ed West is joined by Jackie Harris. That is Harris in motion. Darrell Thompson, the single setback, is popped in the backfield and got back to the line of scrimmage, and that is all. And that Philadelphia Eagle defense, a tough one. Reggie White, the man that made the tackle on the front wall, along with Clyde Simmons, Mike Pitts, and Mike Golick. The linebackers, Jesse Small, Byron Evans, and Seth Joyner, who just signed the middle of this week. The secondary, Wes Hopkins and Andre Waters, the safeties, Ben Smith and Eric Allen are the corners. Very little gain, if any, for Darrell Thompson. And Majkowski looks at 2nd and long. 2nd down and 10 for the Packers. Inside in there now with Darrell Thompson and an eye back to Lock 500. Majkowski changes things and wants to throw the quick out and got it out to Sterling Sharp, who wheels across the 20-yard line. And Ben Smith knocked him out of bounds.
Well, Sterling Sharp catches the first ball thrown to him, and if he has his way, Brad, he'll catch everything that is thrown his way this year. His goal is to make 109 catches. That, of course, would give him an all-time NFL record. His best year was back in 1989 when he caught 90, and he felt that he had 20 balls that he should have caught, and that would have put him right there. But to catch them all here in Green Bay with this weather, it's not always as beautiful as it is today.
Packers go with 3 wideouts. As Charles Wilson there to the bottom of your screen is the 3rd for Majkowski from the shotgun on 3rd and 3. Wide open across the middle is Workman with a lot of room.
To the 46-yard line goes Vince Workman. Andre Waters knocked him out of bounds, but Workman got 25.
Well, Workman's working out of the backfield, number 46. Watch him go down and across the middle, and the linebacker who has man-to-man coverage is way late. Good protection for Mikowski, and now Workman working out of the 4-receiver set where he is called the flushback, and that position will get a lot of balls thrown that way in the nickel situations. Workman with a big gain gets the Packers out of a hole early.
The Packers' initial first down of the season, and they're out to the 46-yard line. Harry Kemp in motion. It'll be Darrell Thompson. Make it Keith Woodside, who maybe got a yard. That's about all. Mike Golick in on the stop, number 90.
In talking to Lindy and Fani yesterday, Brad, he told us that rather candid conversation. There was none of that, well, we got to establish our running game to beat the Eagles. He said, we've got to make big plays. And, of course, the big plays normally come from the pass plays. The Packers were terrible last year running the ball.
Packers have a second down and long 8 just inside their own 48-yard line. Thompson cuts back and got back to the line of scrimmage, and that is it. Mike Pitts made the tackle. Pitts, one of the guys that was in camp on time for the Eagles. They had a lot of holdouts, but he's been here since the beginning.
Well, he missed a lot of games last year. He missed 12 with a sore left knee, and he makes the play here on a misdirection that was supposed to fool the defensive lineman. But these Eagles, they get across the line of scrimmage, they get that good penetration, and then they react. And when you have talented people like Pitt, Simmons, Golick, White, and Jerome Brown now, that's a heck of a front line.
And you'd think they'd pin their ears back here on 3rd down and 8. 4 wideouts for Mikowski again from the spread. Mikowski with time, running out of it, and down he goes. Reggie White back at the 44-yard line.
Well, this is a matchup that the Eagles like and the Packers are a little bit worried about. Every team is worried when they go against Reggie White, the best defensive lineman in football, and he is off to a great start. First sack in the first quarter.
Working on Tony Mandridge, the right tackle, and former number 1 pick of the Packers, who actually had a pretty good shot in there, but White with a great spin move for the sack. And the first NFL regular season punt for Paul McJulian goes to the 19-yard line to Rod Harris, who's got some room, and got it out to the 38-yard line. 35-yard punt and a 20-yard return. Johnny Holland made the stop on special teams. So the Philadelphia Eagles give 1 first down to the Packers and then hold, and now the Eagles take over with number 12, Randall Cunningham, at the controls. Cunningham, who had a tremendous season last year, 30 touchdowns in the air. He led the Eagles in rushing for the 4th straight season, and he's got a pretty good group to join him. Dave Alexander, Ron Salt, Bruce Colley, Cecil Gray, and Antone Davis across his front wall. First down, the Eagles from their own 38. Thomas Sanders got the corner, broke a tackle and got out to the 47-yard line. Picked up almost 9. Sanders running behind this front wall. There's Gray, Colley, Alexander, Silk, and Antone Davis, their number 1 draft choice. Keith Jackson, arguably the best tight end in the NFL. Here's the backfield, Keith Byers and Thomas Sanders. Fred Barnett and Calvin Williams, who were rookies this time a year ago, and now in their 2nd year, and they're expecting big seasons, and Randall Cunningham expecting big things from those 2 second-year wideouts. It's 2nd down and 1.
2nd and 1 from the 47.
Eagles at their own 47-yard line. Byers lined up as a tight end on the left side. It's Sanders for the first down, and he got to the 49. Tony Bennett in on the tackle for Green Bay. Let's take a look at the Green Bay defense. Brock, Tuaolo, and Brown. Tuaolo is a rookie. Scott Stephen, Brian Noble, Johnny Holland, and Tony Bennett, who just made that tackle. Playing for the holdout, Tim Harris at that linebacker position. The corners, Jerry Holmes and Leroy Butler, Cecil and Murphy are the safeties. So already the Eagles in Green Bay territory with 10 minutes to go first quarter. No score here in Green Bay.
Fred Barnett in motion as Cunningham rolls and throws on the run to Byers, and Byers all the way to the Green Bay 30-yard line. Jerry Holmes knocked him out of bounds, but he picked up 19 yards.
You talked about Keith Jackson being arguably the best tight end in football. Well, this is the most versatile player in the National Football League, Keith Byers. His ability to come out of the backfield, as he does on this play, and then make the grab and use his running back instincts to get up the field, lower his shoulder, and punish the defensive back is the key to the Eagles' success again this year.
You know, Dan, interesting talking to Cunningham. He says, hey, I've got the 2 best tight ends in football. That's how he refers to Keith Byers. And with good cause, he got him a first down at the 30-yard line. That's Byers in motion. And penalty markers down. Bruce Colley may have jumped off the left side offensively for Philadelphia.
Yeah, that left side really got a jump that time. Both Colley and Gray got off a little bit early. They'll probably blame it on Gray because he's he's the youngster of the two.
False start. Prior to the snap, number 71, offense, still first down.
You called it. Call it on the second-year guy, right?
Well, this is Cecil Gray's first game as an offensive tackle in his life. Never played here. Of course, in the preseason, he got 5 games in there, but this is the big time. They all count from now on.
So with a penalty, backed up to the 35, where it's 1st and 15. Cunningham is yet to throw to one of his wide receivers, and this time we've got markers down again as Sarah Tuaolo says that Dave Alexander moved from the center spot. We'll wait and see.
We have to have the ceremonial finger pointing first.
Dallas early on Cleveland with a field goal.
And the Packers had more fingers pointing at the Eagles. They won. So the one thing that Richie Kotite talked about is penalties, eliminating them. And on this first drive, we've got 2 in a row against his Eagles.
False start. Prior to the snap,